100 U.S. flights delayed since the government shutdown began 4 weeks ago. Now, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is warning we could see even more now that the federal airline workers are missing their first full paycheck today.
If we have controllers that are more stressed and less able to do the job, we pay close attention to that, and we will reduce the capacity of airplanes taking off and landing, or we will cancel flights.
There have already been hundreds of delayed flights around the country today, but thankfully, there's only been a handful in Salt Lake City. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 238 points to 47,782. Coming up, we've got emergency traffic over on I-215's West Belt coming out of Davis County. Traffic and weather together is next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Jim Weber is here from Foothill Oriental Rugs. And Jim, it's always exciting to have you here because then we know it's the semi-annual sale. First of all, people have been concerned about tariffs. Have the tariffs impacted the price of your rugs?
They're going to in the future for sure. All the rugs in my inventory, the tariffs haven't impacted them at all. So these are pre-tariff prices, and our regular prices are better than anyone in town. So when we put them on sale, it's a real sale price.
So not only is it lovely to be able to come into your gallery and see and feel these rugs, but you really offer a unique experience because they can even try out some of these rugs in their home.
We'll explain different designs to you in different countries of origin. And yes, we recommend that people take rugs home to try them before they make a decision. If you've ever needed a rug, this is a great time to come in and look at rugs because our retail prices are better than the industry on average. And right now, they're marked down up to 70% off.
Don't miss out. The semi-annual sale is underway now at Foothill Oriental Rugs, 1460 South Foothill Drive, just south of Foothill Village.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now. Let's go! Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Heather Kelly?
Well, we've got a parking lot on the West Side Belt. This is southbound I-215 between Legacy Parkway and 700 North due to a multi-vehicle crash blocking all 3 lanes of the freeway. So everyone is using the far left shoulder to get past this crash. And again, that has just turned the West Side Belt into a parking lot. You're going to be a lot better off if you're on Legacy Parkway to exit at Center Street in North Salt Lake, or if you actually get merged onto the West Side Belt, exit at 2300 North. You can get back on I-215 at 700 North and avoid all the delays heading southbound. If you're coming out of Utah County, you still have quite a bit of slowdowns northbound around the Provo area from a couple of different crashes, also between Orem and Pleasant Grove in both directions. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at gopavutah.com. That's gopavutah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, sunny with some hazy skies in the afternoon, but it'll be cold. Highs only in the lower 50s, maybe a 53-degree high today. Right now, it's only 34 degrees, even though it's sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're following a hurricane that's about to hit the shores of Jamaica, and as that occurs, we may move over to that later, but we've got a storm of our own brewing at home here, and that is that SNAP funds in Utah will be ending in November. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has advised the state of Utah to cease those funds starting in November. That affects 86,000 Utah families, which means 177,000 people. They will lose those food benefits right away. And, of course, we spoke, Holly, I think we spoke with one of the legislators, it may have been Stuart Adams, about whether the legislature could pick that up, but it's $33 million a month, and they said they can't do that.
Yeah, we actually spoke with House Speaker Mike Schultz, and then we'll have additional discussion on the legislature's role potentially or not. But you know, one of the things that's sad, so these are federally funded program. It's completely funded by the federal government, and I have to just talk a little bit about SNAP. So SNAP is it's the Supplemental Nutrition Program, and it used to be called food stamps, but basically, there are some, I think, misperceptions about people on the program. So the overwhelming majority of people who can work do work, but unfortunately, they are what sometimes people call the working poor, and they don't make enough money to be able to provide for the food that they need. So the rest of the people, so that's about half of the recipients, are people who work, but they're lower wage jobs. The rest are kids, 43%, seniors, 21% are disabled. So the benefits are not lavish. They can average about $187 a month per person. That's about $6 a day, right? So people are not out buying steak and lobster. They're buying the dented cans that are on sale, trying to stretch their money. And the fraud rate is the lowest of any federal program. It's under 3%.
I think we want to break away for just a minute because our Secretary of Transportation is speaking about the air traffic controllers.
Pay us in the interim. Make sure we get paid for the work that we provide to the American people. I'll just note that in the Senate, a bill came up that said, okay, let the shutdown continue, but there's critical staff, critical workforce that come into work every single day, like air traffic controllers. Those workers who are coming to work, let's have a bill that pays them for the work they do. And Democrats said no to that. So I think we're getting to the point of extremism, and it does beg the question for me, again, what are the Democrats fighting for? Let's fight for America. Let's not fight for health care for illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. I think that's a wrong approach. And listen, I spent almost 10 years in Congress. There are political differences. Those political differences are very real. And the way you resolve those differences is not taking hostages. It's actually opening up the government and having a conversation. What can we work out? What compromises can we make? But in shutdowns, there's no room for compromise. And so I think that message has been clear. Controllers and those other critical employees need our government to be open, and they need to be paid. I want to say one other thing, because I'll get a question about this. Oftentimes, I'm asked, is the airspace safe? Is it safe to fly? And I would tell you that, yes, it's as safe today as it was 2 months ago. it's safe. Because we have great men and women who run our facilities that if they don't have the right staffing levels, or if there's distractions in towers, they will slow down the landings and departures in different airports across the country. And what that means for the American people is that means more delays, or that means more cancellations. We want you to travel on time. We want your flight to depart when scheduled and land when scheduled. We want that to happen. But the number one priority of the men and women who are with me here, or all men, no women, all men are with me today, but also the women in the towers, is they want you to be safe. And so if we have issues, we will slow it down. We will stop it. And so I don't want anyone to think that it's not safe. It's just that you may not be traveling on the schedule that you anticipated because of this government shutdown. And so, again, I couldn't be more honored to be here, who's become a very good friend, Nick Daniels, the president of NATCA. We work very closely together. We don't always see eye to eye on every issue, but there's a lot of issues that we agree on, and we work really well together. And before I give it to Nick, I just want to say one last thing. I'm grateful for our controllers. These are the most remarkable. If you ever go into a tower and listen to the work that they do, the expertise that these men and women have to control our airspace, you would be amazed. We are lucky to have them. We have the safest airspace in the world, not because of the antiquated equipment that we have that runs our system. It's because we have the best air traffic controllers, the best trained, the smartest people in our airspace controlling it. And we're blessed to have them. That kind of work, that kind of dedication, that kind of expertise deserves a paycheck. And with that, I'll turn it over to the NACA president, Nick Daniels.
We've been hearing from Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy talking about the potential layoffs of air traffic controllers and the fact that they're going to continue working even without pay.
But at the same time, I'm here to tell the story. I normally have prepared remarks for you today, but today isn't a day for prepared remarks. Today is a day to speak on behalf of the men and women, as the Secretary just said, that go in and day out and do the job of unsung heroes. They keep America safe. They keep America moving. But today, an air traffic controller showed up at their facility to see $0 in their paycheck. That air traffic controller just moved hundreds of miles from Oklahoma City after passing a grueling 4 months at Oklahoma City Academy, is at the lowest end of our pay scale, and has shown up to a job that pays them $0. They're trying to move in. They're trying to get set up on just even having a place of being able to put up for rent. And guess what's due in a few days? Rent for everybody. It's not the gas that they have to put in the car, the food that they have to put on the table. It's the stress that they now wear. This job is stressful enough. We go to work day in and day out and make thousands of decisions. We do it 5 days a week. Most of us actually do it 6. 5's hard enough, and we do it 6 and 10 hours a day. And now you add in the fact that we had a partial paycheck already, and we missed a full paycheck today. America's air traffic controllers are now having to focus on how do they put gas in the car, how do they take care of their children, how do they pay for child care. And as the Secretary said, that makes the system less safe. And then the only way to make it safe is to reduce the number of aircraft in it. Day in and day out, air traffic controllers have to have 100% of focus 100% of the time. And I'm watching air traffic controllers go into work. I'm getting the stories. They're worried about paying for medicine for their daughter. I got a message from a controller that said, I'm running out of money, and if she doesn't get the medicine she needs, she dies. That's the end. So I'm going to either have to quit this job and take a different one instead of moving America's passengers through it or the cargo. Now I'm going to have to choose my family and my daughter. And that is nothing a parent should ever have to deal with, or especially the hardworking men and women that are federal employees across the entire system. But I could tell their stories all day. I could sit up here and tell you time and time again that they should never work a side job, that they should never get off a night shift and then go wait tables and then go move the commerce and people through this airspace. But you can hear it from an air traffic controller yourself. I'll give you Joe Segreto out of N90. Joe.
That was Nick Daniels, president of the National Air Traffic Controllers.
Speaking on behalf of the air traffic controllers in the New York area, the most congested, complex airspace, arguably in the NAS, the pressure is real. We have people trying to keep these airplanes safe. We have trainees that are trying to learn a new job that is very fast-paced, very stressful, very complex, now having to worry about how they're going to pay bills. Just a story that happened to me yesterday. Somebody came to me and said, Joe, I have a question for you. I said, what's that? I need your advice. What am I to do? Do I put gas in my car? Do I put food on the table? My wife is out making money. We don't have money for daycare. What do I do? I didn't have the answers. I said I will.
We've been listening to a press conference being held by Sean Duffy and others to talk about the impacts of air travel on air travel by air traffic controllers missing their first full paycheck. Later on today, we're going to have KSL's Jeff Kaplan out at the airport to talk about things that are directly impacting the airport there and some new things that they have to announce.
And the message seems to be that the skies are still safe, but a lot of flights are either going to be canceled or delayed as a result of what's happening.
That's right. So stay with us over the break. We'll be back.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We have stopped traffic on the West Side Belt. This is southbound I-215 from Legacy Parkway all the way to 700 North, where a multi-vehicle crash is blocking all lanes of the freeway. Traffic is able to use the far left shoulder to get by, but again, you have 3 lanes of traffic into one left shoulder, and that's caused your huge backups. You're going to want to avoid getting from Legacy Parkway onto the West Side Belt if you can. Need a spark? Campson Electric lights up homes and businesses with expert service and serious style. From upgrades to installs, we do it all. Visit campsonelectric.com and bring your vision to light. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
And expanded Inside Sources.
We're continuing our coverage of the government shutdown and its effect on Utah and Utah families. Utah Senate President Stuart Adams said that if the shutdown persists, it is unrealistic for the state to provide $33 million needed to fully fund SNAP in November for 86,000 households and, like we said, 177,000 individuals in Utah who rely on those subsidies. And that, of course, November 1st is just Saturday. Right.
Saturday. So we have with us in studio Brigham Tomko. He's a reporter with the Deseret News, and he actually talked to President Adams about the legislature's ability or willingness to backfill that amount. Tell us, Brigham, thanks for joining us, first of all, and tell us why did they decide not to or say they can't?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here. So states around the country are in a tough position right now. Some states are considering backfilling these SNAP benefits that are fully federally funded. Virginia is one of these states that I think has floated that idea. But here in Utah, our Senate president shut it down, saying that it's unrealistic. And part of the reasoning for that is, unlike some other federal programs that have, federal-state partnerships, the U.S. Department of Agriculture actually told our Department of Workforce Services last Friday that there was no possibility of reimbursing any of the funds that the state did spend on this program, which, like you mentioned, is $33 million per month to fund.
So the Department of Agriculture said you can pay it if you want, but don't expect us to reimburse you for that.
Yeah, exactly. And
Wow.
there are a handful of programs that are set to be impacted by this government shutdown in coming weeks, or that have already kind of run out of funds. But these other ones, the Trump administration has kind of prioritized finding or identifying funding, whether that's through tariff revenue to cover, whether that's the Women, Infant, Children program or the school lunch and school breakfast programs. But for SNAP, they say that there's no contingency funding or extra tariff revenue available, and it's potentially kind of another way to put pressure on some of these Democratic members of Congress to fund the government.
So by putting pressure on the poorest people in the nation, we're going to change policy, maybe. I have some strong feelings about that, but let me leave that for another time. Right. Let me ask you this question. So if the federal government has said they will not reimburse the state if the state were to backfill, what, just in theory, if the shutdown ends on October 31st, so we don't hit that November 1st deadline, would the payments then be there in November?
Yes. So the USDA memo that was sent out to the Department of Workforce Services here in the state last Friday said that those benefits will be available once these funding measures are passed. And they also clarified that customers or recipients of SNAP benefits, if they still have unused benefits from past months, those are still accessible. So the SNAP program has not shut down entirely. There's just no new funding being sent out on Saturday.
Right. So if they have money from October and they go into next week and the government hasn't reopened, they can still use those funds.
Exactly.
But until the government is reopened, there will be no additional funds. So that's what the state's looking at, right?
Yeah, and talking to state agencies, they say this is the first time they've ever dealt with this with SNAP or with food stamps. This isn't the longest federal government shutdown we've ever had. Back in 2019, there was a 35-day shutdown. I think we're now at day 28. Yep. But because of some different factors and how it lined up, this is the first time that SNAP benefits are not going out because of a shutdown.
Is there any room for optimism, Brigham, on behalf of people who rely on these benefits? That is to say, are there other sources other than the state of Utah that might be stepping up, at least temporarily?
Well, Utah is known as being one of, if not the most charitable state in the country, just in terms of volunteer hours donated or acts of service given to a neighbor, but also in terms of charitable donations. And so there are food banks, food pantries around the country, but this is already their busiest time of year. And so they are facing kind of unprecedented strain, or they're expecting to, if these food stamps don't come through. And so reaching out to the United Way of Utah with donations that can help them with their hotline or their resources that they connect people through, or just donating to your local food bank. And something that we learned in talking with the CEO of the Utah Food Bank is that monetary donations or just giving money to the food bank can sometimes be just as or more helpful, because that helps them to ship the food from one food bank to a different pantry, which is a lot of the work actually behind the scenes to make this work.
So again, Holly's really opinionated today, every day actually. But let me just point out and remind our listeners that we nationally and locally in Utah, that the food banks are already being impacted because of the furloughs, and now we're going to see potentially a big spike because of those receiving SNAP benefits not having them after Saturday, that they have said they don't think they can backfill either, that they don't think that they can provide, they will do as much as they can, but they don't think they can provide what is needed. So there's really potentially a huge need. One of the things I saw in your article was that President Adams said while the legislature can't backfill the $33 million for November, they are looking at other ways to help. What are those ways?
So he wasn't willing to comment on the different solutions that they're looking at, just because the federal government has until Saturday to potentially fix this problem before states are, kind of forced to do something. But I think that some of the options they're pursuing would be donations to food banks, and then something like a public information campaign asking Utah residents to step up to the plate, and asking some of the nonprofit organizations in the state, including the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to help meet that demand. And so if anything, it would be a call to action for Utahns to help their neighbors, because it's such a big price tag that it would be hard for the state to do much more.
I also saw something in your article, Brigham, about the fact that the Department of Agriculture does actually have $5 billion in contingency funds, but they can't use that because those are set aside for shortfalls in appropriations, and we're not dealing with an appropriation. We're dealing with a lack of funding altogether. So apparently that $5 billion cannot be used for this.
And that's a question of dispute among Democrats and Republicans, because a previous contingency policy for USDA stated that in the case of a shutdown, these contingency funds could be used. That policy has since been changed by the Trump administration, and they're saying that those funds are only in the case of when appropriations have already been made, and then there's some sort of natural disaster or something, and there needs to be more than what lawmakers had planned for. And the argument they're making is that in this case, lawmakers haven't done their job and appropriated anything.
Utah also has a rainy day fund. Did President Adams talk at all about being able to tap into Utah's rainy day fund?
He didn't, but you're right. Utah is considered one of the best prepared states in the country for natural disasters or emergency, just in terms of having billions of savings. And he didn't mention that, but I'm sure that's part of the calculations between legislative leadership and the governor's office and these municipalities that are figuring out, how they're going to pick up the slack for the federal government this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking at some numbers specifically in Utah, and this study was from fiscal year 2022, so a few years ago, but the average monthly benefit was $158 per person for SNAP beneficiaries, but they're saying there were 10.7% of Utah households were food insecure. That number is higher now, I believe. And that you, as the Deseret News Hinckley Institute, did a poll just barely and found that 17% of registered voters in the state say they've faced personal economic hardships because of the shutdown, which is in now day 28.
And as someone with 3 young kids, I know inflation is kind of just the context for all of this, where working families are already under pressure to afford basic groceries. And something that my colleague Lois Collins was reporting on, helping me with this story, is that for families, the average SNAP benefit is closer to $500. And so if you think of, losing that amount per month, that could be your entire grocery budget, right, that you've lost for that month. And so I do think that it could potentially be a catastrophic thing for some Utah families.
Oh, boy. That was Brigham Tomko from Deseret News joining us in studio today. Thank you, Brigham. When we come back, we are going to follow up on something that he mentioned, which is how the United Way is stepping up, or trying to step up to fill this gap. They've launched $1 million project to help Utahns in need, and they're not the only ones doing that. We'll talk about that after the break.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, Park City Mountain getting ready for ski season. The resort started making snow, which helps the resort meet its targeted opening date and establishes a durable snowpack. The process involves 206 automated snow guns and an additional 298 that can be placed and adjusted around the resort. The resort is hoping to open November 21st. We're seeing snow-capped mountains, and that means it's time to get ready for ski season. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson reports.
We're not seeing any skis at Baggage Claim just yet. Allison Palamentier with Ski Utah says locals usually get the privilege of being first on the mountain during early season. But when the holidays hit, so do the tourists. Utah is prepping by repairing and improving some of the ski access areas, like repaving park and rides to make sure they're ready for all the traffic.
Palamentier says while it might feel like it's mostly tourists that are on the slopes these days, they've actually seen a pretty even mix between locals and tourists throughout the season. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. House Republicans are releasing a report on the Biden White House's use of an auto pen.
The GOP-led House Oversight Committee says it has found no record that the former president directly approved of certain documents, including pardons that carry his signature. Joe Biden has insisted he authorized his aides to use an auto pen, but the committee says it now deems some of his actions as void, and it urges the Justice Department to further probe the matter. Separately, the committee is calling on D.C.'s Board of Medicine to investigate Biden's physician, alleging Dr. Kevin O'Connor helped lead a cover-up of the former president's decline.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 188 points to 47,734. Coming up, we've still got emergency traffic for those of you trying to get from Davis County down towards the airport. Traffic and weather together is coming up next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
My friends at the Western Nut Company, they make holiday gift giving an absolute breeze. Hi, this is Doug Wright, and from beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to the famous in-house fudge, which is so delicious, and of course the brittles, they've got something for every taste bud. For corporate gift giving, what could be better or easier than going to the Western Nut Company? You can just send them your list and they'll handle the rest. For nearly 60 years, the Western Nut Company has been a proud Utah tradition, celebrating the season with quality and care and community. And be sure to stop by the downtown store for not only unique gifts, but enjoy the decor, the ornaments, and the music box. The Western Nut Company. More than just the best nut gift boxes in Utah, they are a tradition. And you can also, of course, shop online at westernnut.com. Western Nut for the holidays.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Emergency traffic on KSL News Radio brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Heather, what do you got?
This is the West Side Belt. I-215 southbound between Legacy Parkway and 700 North remains a complete parking lot due to a multi-vehicle crash, still blocking 2 right lanes of the freeway. Traffic is getting by on the 1 left lane that remains, but again, that's keeping everybody at a crawl. You're going to be much better off if you transition over to I-15 coming out of Bountiful or Woods Cross to continue into downtown Salt Lake City. Now, if you do continue southbound I-15, there's more delays leaving Bluffdale over the point of the mountain into Utah County due to a crash just before Timpanogos Highway on the right shoulder, and another crash right as you enter southbound I-15 from Pleasant Grove Boulevard. That had been blocking almost that entire on-ramp, slowing traffic and backing it up into American Fork. Need a spark? Campson Electric lights up homes and businesses with expert service and serious style. From upgrades to installs, we do it all. Visit CampsonElectric.com to bring your vision to light. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, sunny with some hazy skies in the afternoon, but it's going to be chilly. High of only 53 degrees expected today. Right now it's only 36 degrees, even though it's sunny. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We are just days away from a halting of SNAP benefits, which will affect 86,000 Utah families, representing 177,000 people. The Senate is prepared. Looks like they're about to vote for a 13th time, but there are some organizations in Utah, Holly, that aren't going to sit around and wait for the Senate to get their act together.
That's right. And, we have 2 Utah United Way organizations that have launched $1 million fundraising effort for people affected by the shutdown. It's not just recipients of SNAP, but people who are furloughed. And we have with us Patrick McIntyre, Chief Development and Communications Officer of United Way of Salt Lake. Patrick, tell us about this $1 million fundraising effort.
Greg and Holly, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, we are now in the 5th week of the federal shutdown. We're coming up on the end of the month. November 1st is typically a time when families will have to pay rent, pay their mortgage. We've just discussed how many SNAP families will be losing their benefits. And we thought, you know what, we really need to step up and do something now. We have a responsibility in the nonprofit sector, the faith community, to fill in the gaps when government doesn't seem to be working. And so that's why we decided to launch the United Way 211 Emergency Relief Fund.
And Patrick, isn't this a time of year when you're strapped anyway, with the holidays and whatnot coming up, when your resources are already stretched pretty thin?
Well, yeah, I mean, not only for families, but also for United Way, this is typically our workplace giving campaign season. But yeah, as we're coming up on November, coming up on Thanksgiving, people are going to be struggling to buy food, especially with 86,000 families in Utah losing their SNAP benefits. So now's the time for all of us to step up and do something. That's kind of our message. We have to do something. There's no way we can replace the $30 million that are typically spent on SNAP in Utah every month. But in the meantime, it's incumbent upon all of us to do what we can.
Can you give our listeners just a really 30,000-foot view of what 211 actually does?
Sure. Yeah, so 211 is a 3-digit telephone number for health and human service navigation. So if you need help or actually want to volunteer, you can simply dial 211, or you can visit 211utah.org and interact with one of our live trained service navigation specialists to connect you with the services available that are near to you. 211 is actually a great barometer of what's happening in our communities. So since the first day of the shutdown, we've seen a 25% increase in interactions every day via 211 on our various channels, including a 50% increase for utility assistance. So we know that Utah families are impacted now. It's even before the first of the month. We see it every day in the increase in call volume and people visiting our website. So it's a great way for people to connect to the help they need, but it also serves as a real-time barometer of what's going on so that policymakers are better informed and we're all better informed in terms of what needs to happen next.
Patrick, to our listeners who aren't necessarily affected by the loss of SNAP benefits and who have or the loss of their job, how can they help? What can they do to help the United Way?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing you can do is visit our website. It's easy to remember. It is uw.org. Make a contribution today. Again, we've launched this fund in partnership with United Way of Northern Utah. So you can send your funds to Greater Salt Lake region or to the northern part of the state. The other thing you can do is donate food. We've heard from our partners at the food banks and food pantries across the state that they are increasingly strapped for food and other resources. So whether it's cash or food, the time is now to really step up and look after one another.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was Patrick McIntyre, Chief Development and Communications Officer of United Way of Salt Lake. We also have Mike McBride. He's Communications Director for Ogden City, and Ogden is stepping up to help people who have been affected by this shutdown. Mike, welcome to our show.
Great. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you guys doing this and getting this really important message out to the community.
And tell us what the residents of Ogden can expect from their government as they are facing some of the shutdown effects of the shutdown.
Yeah, we understand that the federal shutdown is putting families in a tough spot. People are making really difficult choices about which bills to pay. And so Ogden City has created a utility deferral program, a utility bill deferral program, so that when people are deciding which bills that they're going to take care of this month, that they don't have the pressures of or the threat of their utilities being shut off as a result of non-payment. We are deferring their payments until March of 2026 currently.
And so what we're talking about here are utilities that the city provides, such as water, sewer, and garbage. And there's a stay on that. And what do people need to do to qualify for that?
Really just give us a call at our utility billing office. That's 801-629-8321. And really, they just provide a copy of their furlough letter, and then it's real simple to get enrolled in that program.
So will residents there who have been furloughed, will they have to pay anything while their utilities are deferred?
There is a minimal payment. It's $25 rather than the full amount, which could typically be $100 or more each month. We also encourage people to reach out to other community resources. I think that, especially here in Utah, when we have a community problem, we tend to offer community solutions, and we just heard that with United Way. But we want people to know that they're not alone, and they can look at our website and look for community assistance programs. That's help with rent, food, mental health, job seeker support. Anything that somebody might be looking for right now. Those resources are abundant.
Let me ask one quick follow-up question. So if residents of Ogden are able to take this deferral and they're paying the $25 a month, when they are able to pay the regular utility bills, can they go onto a payment program, or will it be one lump sum that they're going to owe?
The current program has it due March of 2026. They can elect to do that in smaller chunks along the way, but that's when the final payment currently is going to be due.
And we understand that there will be no late fees and no shutoffs for people that qualify for this. Is that right, Mike?
Yes, exactly. We don't want that added pressure for our residents who are experiencing these hardships.
That's wonderful. That's Mike McBride, Communications Director for Ogden City, who's also stepping up to the plate and helping residents there.
And that, again, that's one of the things Utah does really well. We have a lot of people, a lot of businesses, individuals stepping up. All right, here is another.
More bad news.
Maybe if you work for Amazon, it might be. So Amazon is laying off 14,000 workers, which is the biggest reduction in force in the company's history. We're going to talk with Mike Dubusky about that when we come back. We're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. We still have a parking lot on the West Side Belt. Southbound I-215 between Legacy Parkway and 700 North in Salt Lake City is barely moving due to a multi-vehicle crash, still blocking 2 right lanes of the freeway. You definitely want to avoid I-215 coming off of Legacy Parkway. So get over to I-15 coming from Woods Cross, Bountiful area. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and for years I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
We've all been there. You buy something one day and find out it went on sale the next. When it comes to your dream home, nothing can be more frustrating than to have interest rates drop right after you sign. For a limited time, Golden West Credit Union will help you buy or refi now and free-fi later. When rates drop, you can refinance once at no cost anytime in the next 3 years. Lock in this exclusive offer today at gwcu.org. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 440574.
We'll take care of you.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
and expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, even the world's largest online retailer isn't immune from layoffs. Amazon sent a note out to workers this morning confirming that its corporate workforce is being reduced by 14,000 jobs as a part of a, quote, reducing bureaucracy and removing layers. I mean, this is significant, 14,000 jobs in light of everything else that's going on right now.
Yeah. So Utah has a few different Amazon fulfillment centers, by the way. But we are talking right now with ABC News technology reporter Mike Dobuski. Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. And tell us a little bit about what workers are going to be impacted by these layoffs.
Yeah, so this does not appear to majorly affect the warehouse sector of Amazon's business. This mostly goes back to the sort of corporate offices at Amazon. So sectors like HR, operations, devices, and services seem to be the target here. Also worth mentioning that these layoffs aren't happening all at once. They're going to be sort of phased over the next few days and weeks. Obviously, this is a pretty significant reduction in Amazon's workforce. It accounts for about 4% of their total workforce. We think about 350,000 people work for Amazon in total. This 14,000 number is very significant, although it is slightly south of what we were expecting earlier this week. The Wall Street Journal and Reuters were first to report yesterday that Amazon was going to be making some cuts this week, but their numbers had it at closer to 30,000 jobs being lost. Now 14,000 roles being lost. Even still, that does affect a lot of people ahead of the holidays.
Yeah, speaking of holidays, Mike, why now? It seems like this is the time of year when Amazon's going to be busier than ever. So what's the significance of these cuts now?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Why is this happening, especially when Amazon seems to be headed into what would be a very profitable part of the year for them as an online retailer? Well, for one, they say that artificial intelligence can do a lot of the jobs that they're losing here. We saw this messaging from CEO Andy Jassy earlier this year at the beginning of the summer. He signaled that generative AI could mean fewer workers, that both in internal memos and in public statements. In addition to that, we see this broader trend across the tech world. Target last week announced that it would be eliminating about 1,800 jobs. Other tech companies like Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Intel have made cuts in the last year. And the World Economic Forum recently found that about 40% of employers plan to reduce staff and replace those roles with generative artificial intelligence to some capacity. But guys, as much staff reductions as we're seeing sort of amid the AI revolution, it's also worth mentioning just how capable AI really is at the end of the day. Some of the data that we found finds that it really isn't that profitable or that useful for a lot of applications. The MIT Technology Review earlier this year found that 95% of AI pilot programs at companies, in other words, programs where people are testing AI, seeing if it can work at companies, 95% of them have failed to net any cost savings or profit increases. So we're laying off a lot of people, but we're not really seeing a ton of cost savings just yet.
Yeah, thanks for that. I have a question about these workers. So this is corporate workforce reducing bureaucracy and replacing them with AI, which actually is not where I thought the AI was replacing workers. I thought that was more entry level maybe.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting. It depends on the application. For one, we know that generative artificial intelligence tools from, OpenAI, from Google, from others are pretty good at like entry-level technical tasks, specifically with regards to like coding. Like the entry-level coding market for jobs has really been thrown into turmoil as more and more companies have deployed artificial intelligence. But when it comes to entry-level like corporate jobs, that's becoming less of a thing. AI, again, is imperfect. It makes mistakes. It hallucinates all the time. And these are things that you don't want an entry-level employee, especially one that is customer-facing, maybe someone who is on the phone with, people who have a problem with a service at Target or at Walmart or whatever. That's where you don't want to see hallucinations. That's where you don't want to see mistakes. At the higher levels, obviously that problem becomes more acute, but that is actually where we're seeing a lot of AI deployments. AI, makes decisions. It can weigh various competing sort of ideas out there in the marketplace, and that's where they see these sort of AI systems being integrated. Interestingly enough, it's also worth mentioning, guys, the sort of very entry-level jobs at Amazon, specifically the warehouse workers, are seeing the threat of automation as well. AI plays a role here, but it's mostly robotics actually is where we're seeing the threat to those workers. Amazon making a big push into robotics and automating, finding and moving packages around, stacking items into a certain box and then shipping it off to consumers. That's where we're seeing the big threat there. But again, the layoffs today mainly focused on the sort of corporate sector.
And Mike, has Amazon offered any assistance or any sort of going away present to these employees? Do we know that yet?
Not at this point, no. You can imagine that it would vary based on what your role is and exactly who is affected here. But yeah, no. At this point, no. We don't really have a ton of information on that just yet. They are saying that looking ahead, they are trying to be a leaner business. And of course, this does come against, in the wake of a, hiring spree that Amazon went on in the pandemic. But many market experts say that this is kind of a correction of that. But, we'll just have to see exactly, where these people land, without a job in the next few weeks here.
So you mentioned the market correction. You also mentioned other tech companies like Microsoft, Google, and Meta have done layoffs. Do you think that these layoffs are signaling a permanent shift in how tech companies are approaching their workforce?
It's a really good question. Tech companies are generally a bellwether for the broader economy. That is, what economists will tell you. And right now, hiring is slowing down for the first time really since the pandemic. To go back to that idea that Amazon was on a hiring spree, people were, online shopping more and more. We saw this kind of across the tech sector. There are more unemployed workers than jobs available right now. So overall employment, is still historically low, but, we're seeing that sort of trend start to emerge. I think the answer to that question is ultimately going to come back to whether AI is the transformative technology that Silicon Valley is selling it as. Right now, there's a lot of promise, there's a lot of hype around AI and what it can do, the capabilities of this technology, but the standard technology that's in front of us right now still makes mistakes to such a degree that it really shouldn't be trusted for any serious application beyond like helping you draft an email or helping you, you sketch out an itinerary for a vacation and that type of thing. That's what most AI experts will tell you, just given the prominence of this hallucination problem. Still, it has not deterred the corporate sector from attempting to implement AI into their workflows in a more significant way. But again, that 95% AI pilot programs fail to really do anything in terms of your bottom line. I think that's a pretty eye-opening stat when you take the 30,000-foot view of it.
Mike, do we know yet if the 14,000 employees are now notified of that, or is it so? Do we know what particular group that might be, or where it might come from? Again,
I think it's a phased rollout, so this is not happening all today. It's going to happen over the next few days and weeks. You can imagine that the first wave of this is going to happen either today or later this week, and we'll see which teams are impacted, and then, so on and so forth as we get closer to Thanksgiving into next month. But, even still, it seems like this is going to affect mainly people who work in HR, customer service, potentially IT as well, operations, so, kind of logistics and that type of thing, devices and services. Amazon obviously runs, the Alexa voice assistant and the Echo smart speaker and a whole host of other products that they themselves make. So that seemingly are the teams that are being affected here. We'll have a clearer eye to that, I think, in a couple weeks.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was ABC News technology reporter Mike Dubusky. And what's interesting, my husband works in computer software. He's an architect, and he is not a guru on predicting market or anything, but he thinks AI is kind of a bubble.
Yeah, and I've heard a little bit of people saying that. I mean, we're setting up so much right now. I mean, we're getting this huge facility down in Millard County to support that. I mean, we're definitely putting in a lot of resources and a lot of money into it. I mean, if it's a bubble, let's hope that it's a 30-year bubble. If we're going to that. Speaking of bubbles, the Granite School District may be splitting maybe two ways. Of course, we know Alpine School District split three ways. Granite could be following. We'll get into why Granite District may be split when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. A group of parents in the Granite School District say they want to look at splitting the school district in half. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Mill Creek, South Salt Lake, and Immigration Canyon are being asked to approve a feasibility study as a first step to split the district. Parents tell the Deseret News they're starting to feel the district has gotten too large to represent them, as they see schools in some wealthier areas are announced to close.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The eye wall of Hurricane Melissa is moving over parts of Jamaica with maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. ABC News meteorologist Kenton Juwike says the storm is a slow mover, which makes it more dangerous.
This is one of the strongest storms we've ever seen in the Atlantic. Again, the strongest of the year over the Earth, but still just in general in all of our history of satellite data, the strongest in the Atlantic really means something. And Jamaica is really going to be devastated today, unfortunately, by this, especially that western half of the island.
That was Kenton Juweke. My apologies. The storm is currently a Category 5 storm. The rainstorms have cleared out of Utah, but the cold temperatures have set in, and the Park City Mountain Resort says that's going to help them get ready for ski season. The resort started making snow overnight. They say the man-made snow will help them meet their targeted opening date later next month. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 160 points, not quite as high as it was after the opening bell, but still in the positive 0.3% to 47,705. Coming up, dry but chilly in the weather, and we still got plenty of traffic problems to tell you about. KSL News Time, 10:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our clients' portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Calling all Jazz fans. If you can't wait another second to see stars like Ace Bailey, Lowry Markkanen, and Walker Kessler tear up the court, you're in luck. Tickets are on sale now. Let's go! No matter what you're looking for, the Utah Jazz has your back. With season tickets, mini plans, and single game options available, there's something for everyone. Whatever your schedule or budget, there's a plan for every fan. Don't miss a moment of the action this season. Secure your tickets today at UtahJazz.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Well, that sound means it's emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. What's the update, Heather Kelly?
Well, the good news is the crash on I-215's West Belt at 700 North has been completely moved over to the right shoulder, so all your lanes are now open. But that just happened a few minutes ago, so traffic is still at a crawl. It's barely moving, and it's backed up before you even get to the 2300 North exit in the North Salt Lake area. Now, also, if you are coming over from Redwood Road in North Salt Lake and making that bend that'll head you south onto I-215, there's another crash on that ramp, and that is blocking the right lane and shoulder, and that has traffic crawling along from Redwood Road as you make that curve. We also still have a crash in place southbound I-15 at the point of the mountain. That is on the right shoulder, causing a little bit of slowing over in the Bluffdale area, but almost everyone else is at freeway speeds. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, only looking at a high of 53 degrees today, but that's the coldest of the next 5. The warmest is going to be Friday on Halloween. That's good news, but it'll warm up quite a bit more tomorrow, 59 expected. Right now, though, only 36 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
To split or not to split, that sounds familiar. Utah's Granite School District, which is where I was born and raised, is now at the center of a growing debate with over 60,000 students. I think that's 62 and change. Some parents and policymakers are asking, has it become too big to serve its communities effectively? I was a little bit surprised that Granite District is growing in those numbers.
So you know that I am down in Alpine School District, which is splitting.
Okay, right.
So it was the biggest. It was 85,000, more than 85,000 students, and voters in 2 of the districts decided to split 3 ways. I was in the section that didn't have a vote, but anyway, now that will be moving forward, and we will no longer be the largest district. So Granite School District. So we have Eva Terry with us. She's the reporter with the Deseret News, and she wrote an article in the Deseret News about this potential split. Can you just talk to us about where this is coming from? Who's bringing this forward?
Yeah, so the way I found this story is one of my friend's moms reached out to me, and she said that the issue was, she lives in Holiday, and the issue was just something that a lot of parents were talking about. And she has just been frustrated that she felt like her district couldn't represent her well enough, and so she gave me some names of people who had been talking about it, and I just started reaching out from there.
And what have you learned so far from the district, or have you learned much from the district into their thoughts about this at this point?
Yeah, so the district is opposed to splitting, and they haven't given specific reasons, just addressing the representation side of things. They say that, funding will stay up for students if they stay large because they have high-income areas as well as low-income areas, but they haven't addressed the issue of representation.
So where is the growth happening, I guess, in Granite School District?
The growth is happening a lot in areas with many new builds, and so that's not happening in the eastern area where they want to get split off. And there have been some school closures in the east of elementary schools, and parents are pretty upset about that because they feel like if this was up to us, we could keep them open. But as a whole, the district sees like, okay, these areas have declining enrollments. We should open up schools in areas with growing enrollments. So they just feel like they can have more of a say in their own area because they know it better.
Mm-hmm. I have a follow-up question because in your article you say it's impacting some of the political races that will be decided next week. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Holiday mayoral race is November 3rd, and the 2 candidates have opposite views on it. And so Paul Fotheringham is the Democratic candidate, and he's been pretty opposed to doing a feasibility study. And so I talked to a lifelong Democrat and a parent of young children who was pretty frustrated with this because he was like, okay, I thought that Democrats should be for public education, and we feel like this is what's going to represent our children best. So now it's making him question, okay, now do I have to think of voting another way?
So is the idea even that the district would split sort of along its east-west boundaries? Because I know you've got the Cypress, Kearns, Granger, Taylorsville, Hunter, I'm sure I'm missing one, on the west side-ish, and then you've got Cottonwood, Olympus, Skyline. I'm probably missing one there too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that where the conversation is because of the disparity between those two areas, the east and west?
Right. So the reason that I've been told they want to do east and west split is to keep the high school districts intact, so they don't have to like pull off some students from their high school and assign them somewhere else if their high school isn't in their district anymore. But I wonder if there has been talk about doing more of a horizontal split so that you can keep the wealth disparities the same.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, the reason they've said they're doing the east-west split is to keep high school boundaries intact.
Mm-hmm. So I am old enough to remember a very contentious split. That was the Canyon Jordan's school district split in 2008, and they split, I think, basically along I-15, but it was an east-west split. And it was really, really contentious. Is there any evidence that people have learned from that with the Granite School District?
Yeah, so I talked to one parent, Taylor Davis, who has been pretty involved in the parent movement. And he said he's talked to a lot of people who were involved in that split. And he said on both sides, people have been glad for the split down the road. And he said that he's also talked to people who have been involved in the Alpine split. And right now, he said it's like asking a woman who's 8 months pregnant if she's going to have another child. Like it's painful. It takes a ton of effort. And so obviously there are lots of different views on this, but he said he's talked to people from that split who have really enjoyed the effects of it.
So Eva, where does this go now? Will there be some feasibility studies? Will there be public hearings? The Granite School District so far is not on board with this,
right.
But some parents might be. So where do we decide where it goes?
Right. So ultimately, it's not up to the Granite School District. It's up to the city councils. And so that's why this is such a big debate in the Holiday mayor's race, is because the mayor effectively is just like a glorified member of the city council. And usually city councilmen don't vote against the mayor. And so if Holiday can get someone in there who is in favor of a feasibility study, then it can move forward and the city councils can vote, and then they get the feasibility study. And then based off of that, they have a couple of debates on the information they get there, and they move forward, and then it gets on the ballot to vote for it.
So because I was down in Alpine School District and multiple cities got together and decided that they would put it on the ballot, but my city did not, what would it take? Are there multiple cities that have to then vote for a feasibility study, or do we just need one?
So the only areas that vote for a feasibility study are the areas that are seceding.
Okay.
And so, like, if it's Holiday, Emigration Canyon, Mill Creek, they just need to have a majority between their city councils. So the West won't vote on it.
Okay.
Because they're not the ones who are seceding.
Okay, interesting.
Is there a particular division just with respect to the mayoral candidates in Holiday City? They're taking different positions on this?
Yes. So Paul Fotheringham is opposed to a feasibility study, and Darren Watts, I believe, is the Republican candidate, and he is in favor of it.
Well, technically they're nonpartisan because they're municipal races, right?
Right. Yes, very true.
But that's interesting. It may come down to a mayoral race.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. So, we only have like another minute or so, but when you did this story, what are some of the maybe pushback against having a smaller district?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a parabola. Like when things are too small, the economies of scale don't really work, and they don't have enough. It's too expensive for each child because the administration costs are just too high. And it's the same on the other end of things. So, I mean, in the East Coast, it's really common for there to be really tiny districts because parents like to be really, really involved. And you see that in their state legislature as well. It's really grassroots. And so if it's too small, costs are really high. If it's too big, costs are really high again.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining us today. That was really interesting. That's my school district. That's Eva Terry from the Deseret News talking about a possible split in Granite School District. Just at the discussion stage at this point, but it may come down to a mayoral race, too.
Well, speaking of discussions, what a great lead-in. The holidays are coming up. That means family dinners, which could mean awkward conversations. So we know already that taboo topics include politics and religion, but those are not the top of the list, actually. We're going to learn more from Bankrate and when we come back after the break. We're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
See traffic brought to you by Mountain America, and we still have some big delays on I-215, but now they've shifted. So if you are trying to get onto I-215 from Redwood Road in Davis County, heading west and then making that curve that'll take you south to 2300 North, all traffic has been stopped for about 10 minutes due to a crash that's blocking the right lane and shoulder. But from time to time, UHP stops everybody to try to get some of these vehicles moved over to the right shoulder. So right now, nobody's moving very quickly. And once you get past it, you still have the slowdowns from the original crash of I-215 southbound at 700 North that's now has all the lanes reopened, but residual delays remain. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers, GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's the Wi-Fi nightmare. Your kids are gaming online, your spouse is streaming, and all you want to do is watch an interesting YouTube clip, but the rest of your family has swiped all the zippity bandwidth. And you get the spinning wheel thingy, and you sound like an 8-year-old kid. It's not fair! But it doesn't have to be that way. Just imagine if your Wi-Fi was a lot smarter. Picture it, your TV, your phone, laptop, even your fancy fridge working together to make life easier. Well, Xfinity makes that dream a reality. You'd think they're telepathic. Really smart Wi-Fi that knows when your device needs a boost. The best equipment to stream 4 games at once with Multiview, and Xfinity Mobile that gives you Wi-Fi where you need it and 5G everywhere else. No more fighting for bandwidth at the end of a long day. Every device gets exactly what it needs. That's the magic of Xfinity. It's seamlessly in tune with you. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Ready to order? Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
How do you stay humble when you're America's #1 wiper blade? That's what we're currently dealing with at Rain-X. Is it even possible to humble brag when you bully Mother Nature like we do? Do we sound too conceited if we keep repeating how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America? No, we'll take a lesson from our wipers and just keep doing our job with humility. As America's #1 wiper blade. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources.
So this one made me chuckle just a little bit because there's certain things you're quote unquote not supposed to talk about. You're not supposed to talk about religion or politics. I do that anyway. You're not supposed to talk about people's weight. Like if you had Thanksgiving dinner, please don't say, "Oh, did you gain weight this year?" Like that would not be cool. But a new Bankrate survey found that there was something even more uncomfortable talking about at holiday gatherings, and that is money.
Yeah. Among sensitive topics, 61% of Americans said they feel uncomfortable discussing their bank account balances, the highest overall, credit card debt 47%, salary 45%, not far behind. And like you said, religious views, only 18% are uncomfortable, political views 24%, or their weight. Who discusses weight? 31%. But those are far below America's discomfort with talking about money, their finances, and their debt.
So we have with us on the line Ted Rossman, Bankrate Senior Industry Analyst. Can you just talk to us about this study?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, you're talking about some of the traditional third rails of politics, religion, weight. We're not supposed to talk about these things, right? But it's actually money that's even more off limits at a lot of holiday gatherings, and not just holidays. I mean, this is any sort of conversation with family and friends. I know it's uncomfortable, but I would argue that we actually need to get better about talking about money with the people closest to us. For example, every year we do a study on financial infidelity, people who are keeping money secrets from their spouse. And it always seems to be about 40% are keeping these secrets. It's secret debt, secret spending, secret savings. It undermines trust. And even aside from your spouse, even your friends, your close family, they have some say over how you spend money in terms of social activities, holiday gifts. If you're on a budget, say so. Could we cut back on gifts this year? Could we pick some cheaper entertainment options? Sometimes if you just leave people in the dark, then hard feelings can fester. Like, oh, why'd they suggest that expensive restaurant? And I'm on a budget, and don't they know? And we need to be more intentional about having some of these conversations.
Ted, why do you think so many people do feel like those are uncomfortable conversations and polarizing to talk about money? I mean, especially when you look at religion and politics being about half the number of people uncomfortable talking about.
Some people are ashamed about how they handle money. I believe we need to break that stigma down as well. Take credit card debt, for instance. That was one of the most uncomfortable things for people to talk about. Well, half of credit card holders carry debt from month to month. So you have plenty of company. It's often a practical cause like a medical bill, a car repair, groceries, day-to-day living. It's not usually something irresponsible. It's usually very practical items. That would be one example. Or your salary is another one that it's a touchy subject. We're actually seeing more Gen Zers willing to talk about these things. And I would argue that's a good thing. Sticking with the salary theme, more information can help break down stigmas and stereotypes and biases. The gender pay gap is a good example. If more people talk about their salary and we get this more out in the open, you might find out, like, wow, I'm really underpaid relative to my peers, and can we do something about it? Sometimes information is power. A lot of Gen Zers are having these conversations in the workplace, and it is raising some uncomfortable truths that can hopefully be overcome.
Let me ask you a question about lending money. I know even within my own extended family that is a very touchy topic. Can you address that?
Yes, we found that about 7 in 10 Americans have lent money to a friend or family member or paid a group bill with the expectation of being paid back. And out of all these people, more than half, 55%, had something bad happen at least once. They lost money, they damaged the relationship, their credit score was hurt. You need to be really careful if you're lending to family and friends. My advice would be treat it like a gift rather than a loan, because a loan really hangs over you. It can taint the relationship. You can't lend more than you can afford to lose. It's like they say on the airplane about put your oxygen mask on before helping others. There is an empathetic way to say no or not right now. You might even say, I value our relationship too much to complicate it with money matters. Can I help in another way? Or, like I said, treat it like a gift, because if you're expecting repayment, that can just get really awkward. A lot of times it ends up hurting the relationship and people end up losing money and a friend.
So, Ted, how does a conversation about money begin? I mean, if you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table, like, hey, how are things at your bank these days? I mean, how does that go? Because I actually think what you're saying makes tremendous sense. I just don't know how you break that ice.
And sometimes you need to read the room, and maybe it's not the best time to bring it up. I tend to think these conversations are most constructive when there's some kind of goal in mind, like being on a tighter budget this year and suggesting maybe we only buy for the kids this year, or we pick one adult's name out of a hat and we buy for them instead of the whole extended family, or maybe you set a dollar limit and you turn it into a treasure hunt of sorts that, hey, let's see how creative we can get with a holiday gift under $20, and you take some of the competition to spend out of it. Or maybe you're asking somebody for advice. Maybe you're asking an older friend or family member, how have you dealt with this in the past? How have you paid off debt or saved more or invested more? A lot of this doesn't get taught in school, and it's kind of left to us to either learn through life experience and the School of Hard Knocks or to talk to people close to us. And we're not that great about having these conversations. Not that you need to bear all of your financial details, but it helps to go in with a bit of a plan and also maybe have a bit of an escape hatch. Like if it's not going well, that you table it and maybe you come back another time when heads are clearer.
Yeah, you table it and shift to politics or something non-controversial.
Yeah. Something safe like that.
Look, I have a question for people like myself who never really did learn a lot about money. We've learned how to manage, right? But I don't know anything about investing or how I might be a little embarrassed to tell my kids, I don't really know what to tell you, but you should know about this. Where can I start?
It's okay to be vulnerable like that, none of us have all the answers, but it is useful to try to empower yourself with some of that knowledge. Now, it's hard to know where to look sometimes because you can't believe everything you see on social media, or you can't believe every investing tip from your brother-in-law. We have good information at Bankrate. There's a lot of other good financial resources. Maybe you lean on something in the workplace, like if HR has some sort of connections to a financial advisor, or maybe you have a 401k company that's going to give you a free consultation or something like that, or maybe at your local bank branch, or even just opening the door to friends and family, like, hey, what's worked for you? Or I would say that personal finance doesn't need to be overly complicated. A lot of it comes back to making the right decisions and just replicating that. If you're contributing to your 401k every 2 weeks, well, that's great. Maybe you can periodically add to that, like next time you get a raise or on your next birthday or the first of the year or something like that. Trying to avoid high-cost debt like credit cards. You can work with a reputable nonprofit credit counselor like Money Management International or Green Path. There are definitely resources out there that can help people.
Last question, Ted. At what level should a person feel comfortable sharing, especially with someone they're close to, just their personal finances?
It depends on your individual comfort level, but I'm of the mind that it is appropriate to share more than a lot of people are sharing. Not that you need to tell everybody to the last cent how much money you have in the bank or what your salary is, but maybe more in broad strokes, like back to that analogy about holiday gifts or entertainment options. Like if you have that friend that's always suggesting expensive restaurants and concerts, and if that's just not in your budget, it might make sense to say something like, hey, I value our time together. Can we do something cheaper? I'm on a tighter budget, or can we stay in tonight, or can we go to a cheaper restaurant? Because sometimes what happens if you don't say anything is you either spend too much, or the feelings kind of fester, and then you just turn down the invitations, and then you sort of never see them again. That it makes sense to be honest about where you're at, and that can change over time. But just being open to having these conversations lets people in a little bit, and just kind of clears the air.
Thank you so much. That was Ted
Great
Rossman.
advice.
Yeah.
Really fun advice.
Senior industry analyst with Bankrate, to tell us that we can have awkward conversations even about money.
And speaking of awkward conversations, a delegation from Utah recently returned from a trade mission to New Zealand and Australia. I'll bet it wasn't awkward.
That's not awkward.
I bet it went great. We'll talk about why and what came out of that trip when we come back.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour: administrators with Box Elder High School in Brigham City say they confiscated a handgun from a student yesterday. They received a tip that a student had brought the gun to school, so they worked with Brigham City Police to find the student and get the gun. They say there is no threat to the school at this time, and police will continue to investigate the situation. Drivers in Davis County will need to be prepared for diversions off of I-15 southbound on 3 different nights this week. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has more.
All traffic on southbound I-15 will be forced to exit at 200 North in Kaysville on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. The closures will begin just after 10 p.m. and should reopen by 5 a.m. each morning. UDOT says they need to close the southbound freeway in order to remove overhead signs for the new Shepherd Lane interchange project.
Drivers can re-enter I-15 heading south at Park Lane in Farmington during the nightly closures. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: Secretary Hegseth announced another round of military strikes against suspected drug traffickers in the Pacific on boats.
There was a survivor in this incident that took place yesterday, in one of these 3 incidents that took place yesterday, and it's unclear exactly whether this individual was rescued by Mexican Search and Rescue because they were the ones who were tasked with rescuing this individual.
ABC Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez says 14 people were killed in the strikes. A former K-9 police officer with the Woods Cross Police Department has passed away. Ranger was a valued member of the department for a decade, locating missing children and tracking down individuals wanted by law enforcement. During his career, Ranger trudged more than 173 miles with officers, locating 83 wanted persons and found 6 missing children. Your money at this moment: the Dow up 160 points to 47,705. Coming up, we've got cool but dry weather. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 10:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger, because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA weight loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA weight loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Shop with any Mountain America credit or debit card for a chance to win a $5,000 vacation voucher. Simply tap, insert, swipe, or click to be entered to win now until October 31st. Use any card, win any trip from Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/anycard for official rules or to apply. Loans on approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Insured by NCUA. Limited time offer. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age. making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Well, have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
Make game day yours with the Utah Mammoth app. Get your tickets, order food and drinks without leaving your seat, track live stats, and stream every game with Mammoth Plus, all in one place. It's the ultimate game day essential, designed for Mammoth fans. Stay connected to your hometown team and never miss a moment. Download the Utah Mammoth app today on iPhone and Android. Turn on push notifications and make every day game day. Tusks up.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
We still have delays in Davis County, but this time it's on I-15 southbound from Center Street in North Salt Lake to the Warm Springs Road overpass. This is due to a multi-vehicle crash blocking the right lane and shoulder just before you get to that exit at Warm Springs Road. So just stay to your left and you'll get by it just fine. But for anybody who wants to transition from southbound I-15 onto I-215 at the north interchange in North Salt Lake, there's still a crash as you also try to approach 2300 north, the Warm Springs Road exit. That is over on the right shoulder, but it's slowing people down backed up to the Redwood Road area. And then if you're in Utah County, there's a crash southbound I-15 right before University Avenue in Provo. That is blocking the HOV lane and left shoulder. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, plenty of sunshine today, but we only get up to 53 degrees. Now, it is 59 for a high tomorrow, 60 on Thursday, and the warmest 61 and dry on Halloween. Right now, it is 39 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're continuing to follow the path of Hurricane Melissa as it is very, very close to the shores of Jamaica. And as that gets closer, we may break away for that. But it's traveling at a slow 7 miles an hour, which I guess is the worst pace that a hurricane can go, because then when it hits, it sort of just stands there for a while.
It just stands there and destroys.
Right, and the Senate is maybe going to vote for a 13th time on the government shutdown. We may have something from there. But recently, a delegation from Utah returned from a trade mission to New Zealand and Australia. I think that's places that have tremendous potential for Utah.
And they're not very close, right, to our shores. But look, Jason Swinson with the Deseret News was there. He was able to travel, and there are multiple articles that he has published on this trade mission in the Deseret News. But Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Greg and Holly. Good to be with you guys.
How's the jet lag?
Well, that's a rhetorical question, right?
Right.
19 hours difference between Salt Lake and Auckland, New Zealand. So
wow.
I'm still waking up at 2:30 in the morning, wide awake, but then by 2:30 in the afternoon,
you're dead.
It's bedtime. So get back with me in a few days, and I'll probably give you a better answer.
So,
all right.
I think a lot of our listeners, including myself, weren't aware that this was going on. What was behind this trade mission trip?
I think it was just a lot of really, really smart and involved people from a number of different industries and areas recognized, I think, as you suggested a minute ago, Greg, a tremendous opportunity at this time to be able to develop and build on Utah's relationship with that part of the world. Australia, New Zealand, areas, of course, that have similar market economies as our own. And, of course, it's just a very, very, geopolitically a very, very volatile moment with so many things happening that I'm sure we can talk about. And so the timing was just right to have a Utah contingent in that part of the world talking about some of the most important issues that I think will shape our globe over the next decade.
Tell us a little bit about the makeup of the delegation that went there.
It was really, it was both large and very diverse, Holly. You had, about 80 people with a delegation that, of course, was led by Governor Cox, and then joined by some of his leaders from his Office of Economic Opportunity, along with several private businesses, industry leaders, and then some key educators. You had people like Utah State University's David Weiser, their Vice President of Government External and External Affairs, and also University of Utah President Taylor Randall. And to give you some sense as to what a priority this mission was for someone like President Randall, he was not at the Utah-BYU football game a week ago, which of course I'm sure was one of the key things he circles on his calendar every single year. Instead was way down under, participating in this delegation because of some of the opportunities that I think he recognizes would present itself. And so some sense as to just how much importance a lot of people placed on this mission.
And Jason, it sounds like a bit of a diverse group, but what were some of the opportunities that we can enjoy between Utah and that part of the world in terms of trade?
There were four key industries that were really focused on over the course of the mission: aerospace and defense, life sciences, innovation, which was, of course, of key interest to people like President Randall and other educators, and I think perhaps most importantly and most timely, critical minerals, which, of course, has just grabbed headlines over the last week. And so it was sort of a fortuitous moment for the Utah group and some of the mining leaders, led by Governor Cox, to be in front of their Australian counterparts when so much is happening in the critical minerals world in real time.
So I'm looking at the article that you wrote specifically on talking to Governor Cox, and you had an exclusive interview with him, I think towards the end of the trade mission. Can you just summarize a little bit about what you saw from the governor?
The governor was really there, I think, with a consistent message, and that is that Utah is open for business. He really was the state's biggest marketing cheerleader to say, look, we have so much to offer in terms of our own, resources in areas of critical minerals. We have friendly regulatory practices, and we have a population, a workforce that is really global. We have so many people here in Utah that are able to speak multiple languages, so many people in Utah who are well educated, and so many people in Utah who have had their own global experiences, whether it's from their church missions or whether it's from educational opportunities or business opportunities. And so the theme that I saw him repeat in front of very, very different audiences is that Utah is a place that really can shift from being crossroads of the West to really the crossroads of the world, because we have so much to offer, both in terms of resources, our regulatory friendliness, and just some very, very capable, hardworking people.
It seems like we hear a lot, Jason, lately about the share and the trade of critical minerals. And you mentioned that was a significant part of this. Without naming specifics, does that part of the world seem to have a lot, or are they looking to purchase from us?
No, you remember that they actually do have, especially in Australia, key reserves of critical minerals, which again, I think will be one of the defining elements of what direction our world goes over the next 10 or 15 years. Again, as I referenced, just a week ago last Monday, President Trump and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese were in the White House signing an $8.5 billion critical minerals deal, all designed, of course, to counter China's domination of the critical minerals market. And I think a lot of us may not realize when we hear critical minerals just how essential and vital that is, to our day-to-day lives and certainly our economies. It's used in everything from our from our fighter jets to the electric vehicles we're driving, to the laptop you're looking at this moment, to the cell phone that you're going to use throughout the day. If China, sort of has a hostile monopoly on those critical minerals, that gives them tremendous leverage that may not put a country like the United States or put us at a huge disadvantage. And so being able to establish these relationships with Australia, given their resources of critical minerals, is absolutely essential. And it certainly proved to be a timely element of the Utah trade mission.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jason. That was Jason Swinson with the Deseret News, who accompanied that 80-plus person delegation to New Zealand and Australia.
That's some very good news and some promising news. There's also, we're hearing, a $1,000 reward now being offered to find the source of a racial slur that was posted and changed on an Alpine traffic sign. That's coming up next, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and when I think of the holiday season, I always think of the Western Nut Company. They have been part of our family celebration for as long as I can remember. And during this season, when I talk about the warmth of the holidays, the main store in downtown Salt Lake City on 4th South absolutely represents it. When you walk through the doors, just the spirit and the feel, the smells, and the warmth of the holiday season washes over you, and you are going to find all kinds of goodies that are perfect for this time of year. I got to tell you, this gives me a real kick. Their Nut of the Month subscription delivers a variety of nut gift boxes right to the door throughout the year. And also, don't miss their holiday preview sale. It's getting underway November 6th, 7th, and 8th at 4th South and 3rd West. You are going to love everything you find. And if you can't get into the store, go online at westernnut.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This week's movie show is brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah.
Who is Farm Bureau Financial Services? At our core, we're relationship builders. We're home and auto bundlers, life insurers, farm and ranch protectors, and retirement planners. We're neighbors, community members, and friends. We're the people you can count on now and for years to come. Find a Farm Bureau agent at fbfs.com/protect. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The new Inside Sources.
Police are now offering a $1,000 reward to find whoever hacked into a traffic sign and changed the messaging to a racial slur in Alpine, Utah. And I think, Holly, somebody did something they thought was funny or offensive or whatever, but the police are taking this seriously. And not only are they looking at it as a criminal act, which it is, but they're offering a $1,000 reward to find out who did it.
Yeah. KSL 5 TV's Dan Rascon has more on this story, and he spoke with a member of the community who felt like she might have been targeted.
Right along Canyon Crest Road in Alpine sits your typical construction sign, telling drivers to use an alternate route for road closure. No big deal, right? But over the weekend, this sign turned into a very big and upsetting deal when Grace drove by, and instead of a road closure message, it popped up a very disturbing racial slur towards black people. So disturbing, we had to blur it.
Her confusion, more shocked than anything. I think that we assumed Alpine was a safe city.
Grace, who didn't want to show her face for fear of retaliation, believes the message was directed to her family.
We're the only people of color on that block. I don't want to believe, but there's a huge chance that it is, considering that we are the very, very small demographics in the neighborhood.
Lone Peak Police are on the hunt for who changed the message and are offering a $1,000 reward for the capture of who is behind this. Grace's 3 boys were also with her that night and saw the message.
My kids and I, we both just looked at it stunned like, wow, it literally does affect lives. So I think bringing awareness to the community that it is something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, something very disturbing there. You know, according to police right now, they said that they did investigate one name apparently that was related there on the sign, but they had no evidence that that person anyway was involved. Police say if you have any information who may have done this, make sure you call the Lone Peak Police Department.
And who would have even thought to do that? I don't know how you hack a traffic sign. There's this sign, this flashing sign, I guess,
Right.
that says, hey, there's road construction here, use an alternate route, and someone's able to get into the mechanism of it and change the wording.
Right.
I mean, that's, I
you
guess.
have to look. You can talk about the criminal part of this. You can talk about. I don't know how you change the sign either, but I can talk about racism in Utah.
Yeah.
I'm white, but I have children who are black. I have a daughter who's Latina. I have a couple of sons who are Asian, and I am telling you, racism is alive and well in Utah. And unfortunately, even in the little town of Alpine, which is just up the road from me, it's there.
Yeah, someone did that. And so you would expect that there would be some repercussions for that. Police are, like I said earlier, offering a $1,000 reward. They're going to find who did this. They're going to try to find who did this, and they're going to prosecute that person. And I was looking up, Holly, the crime that could be here, what you would describe it as, what the crime could be.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a crime called altering a traffic control device.
Okay.
Like you can't do that. You can't take down a stop sign
Sure.
or make a red light doesn't work, or
Right,
even if
right,
you have
right.
construction equipment, those flashing yellow signs, don't
yeah.
move them.
Yeah.
It's a crime.
Okay.
It's a misdemeanor. It's a low-level crime, but it's still a crime. There's also a crime called vandalism, which
Mhm.
means that if you destroy property, and so this one is a little bit of a stretch, but I think it works. Let's say that they have to go spend $200 or $300 to have somebody reprogram the sign.
Sure.
That would be a sign of vandalism, that there was something more to it than just there was a cost involved in fixing the problem. Those are both misdemeanors, but under Utah law, they can be enhanced. That is, they can be bumped up a degree based on a determination that it's a hate crime. And
Right.
I can't imagine a better example, a clearer example of a hate crime. So I think if the police do find whoever did this, they're going to charge it as seriously as they can. including not only those misdemeanors, but up the ante on both counts to be hate crimes.
Good. Let me ask you this question. How are they going to find the person who did this? Somebody will talk, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, $1,000 reward. I mean, somebody didn't just do this in a vacuum or by themselves. And maybe they did. And maybe they're going to live with that their hate the rest of their lives. But chances are somebody did it with the help of another person. $1,000 reward is not a lot, but it's certainly, if it's weighing on your conscience, it could be something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody bragged about it. Somebody talked to their friends about it. I mean, then maybe they don't find it. But I would expect that at some point the reward money and the public outcry from this are going to get somebody to come forward and say, hey, I think I know who did this.
Yeah. I do like the community response of people who are saying, I thought Utah was better than this, and this shouldn't be happening in our communities. I appreciate that, and yet I also want people to recognize that it is happening, right? And it's happening more often, I think, than people would realize or want to acknowledge. So my own children, the first time they were called the N-word was at our church congregation. That was painful. And then I found out when they went to school in high school that it was a regular slur thrown at them, all of my black children, boys and girls. And, I sometimes hear it's like, well, that used to be a thing in the past and it's not anymore. It is, and we need to be able to call it out, which is happening, I think, with this. The police are offering a reward. They're taking it seriously. And I've seen people online saying, oh, well, it's probably just a juvenile and boys will be boys, or, and no, it's not okay.
Yeah, and it's not okay for a lot of reasons. I just had a case that I resolved involving a brother of two young African-American adoptee sisters, and someone came to their door and screamed a racial slur. He chased them down. He caught them and thumped them. I mean, it wasn't anything bad. He gets charged with child abuse, but even the prosecutor in that case said, I don't know that I feel too sorry for these victims. And so we sort of had a coming together of everyone, like, hey, he shouldn't have done what he did, but wait a minute, that was a really inappropriate thing that you did. And I think everybody came together on that one. I'm not saying what he did was right. It was absolutely wrong. He was prosecuted and he should have been. But, to hear something like that directed to your sisters, people that you love.
Yep, that's right.
I mean, and what are you going to do, sit there and do nothing?
Oh, I don't do nothing.
Right, I know.
I don't use my fists. I would lose any battle like that, but I do use my words. Let me ask you this. Do you have any idea how easy or difficult it is to hack a sign like this?
How easy it is for
anybody to be able to hack into a sign?
I didn't know you could. I mean, I assume that they have somebody had to program it to have the words in the first place. So there must be something in there where you can type in what you want the sign to say, and someone must have had, maybe they've done some of those signs before. Maybe they work for a sign company. Maybe they have the secret code that tells you how to do that. But I can't imagine it's that difficult. Maybe you have to lock them out in the future and make sure that you have a password to get into it in the first place.
We have Lone Peak Police Chief on the line with us. Hey, welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. You're welcome. It's good to talk to you.
So where is this investigation right now, Chief?
So this happened on Friday night, and we spent the weekend looking into a couple of leads that we'd had, but we've exhausted those, and that's the reason we put out the information. If we can get information, we would be happy to offer a reward for that. So we're hoping that we can convince somebody to come out and do the right thing and give us some information that might lead us to the individuals who perpetrated this crime.
So Chief William, I live kind of close to that area. I live in Pleasant Grove, and I just want to tell you, thank you so much for taking this seriously. It means a lot as a mom of a multiracial family.
Yeah, of course. And I think we all, over the last few days, we've discussed this, and I've heard comments from people saying this is a joke in poor taste, and we don't consider this a joke at all. It's in poor taste for sure, but it's not a joke, and it's something that's horrendous, and it shocks the conscience, to be honest with you. And when I was first made aware of this Friday night, I was extremely disappointed, that it happened, but then it happened in our community, and we have members in our community who this affects deeply and closely, and I have friends that are also, African American, and it's just it shocks the conscience, and we're just disappointed that it happened. But we are taking it seriously and want to be able to find the individuals that have done this.
We're speaking with Lone Peak Police Chief Brian Gwilliam, who was actually listening to the show and called to join us. I can't thank you enough for doing that, Chief. And tell us,
of course,
somebody put up some reward money here. I mean, you're doing what you can to try to get this individual flushed out.
Yeah, that's correct. We have put up a reward for $1,000 that would lead to information for an arrest in this particular case. And we have individuals in our community that are a little bit on edge right now, understandably, and we just want to make them feel like, they are welcome and that they're comfortable and feel safe in their homes and in our community.
So if people have information, how do they contact you?
So they can reach out via our website. There's a place on there that you can submit comments, but the best way to do that is to contact our front desk, and that number is 801-756-9800, or they can go to LonePeakPolice.com and find a way to contact us there as well.
Thank you so much. That was Lone Peak Police Chief Brian Gwilliam, who called in to let us know additional information. And stay with us over the break. We'll be right back.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. Israel's prime minister has ordered powerful strikes on the Gaza Strip. In a statement, Benjamin Netanyahu has accused Hamas of violating the ceasefire deal for not returning all the bodies of dead Israeli hostages. We have not heard word of any strikes actually happening, just that Netanyahu has instructed the military to carry them out. We'll continue to follow the story and we'll bring you the very latest. The Salt Lake City International Airport has opened up 10 new gates and 6 new concessions at the end of Concourse B today. Salt Lake City Department of Airports Executive Director Bill Wyatt says they've been working on the new airport for 14 years, and it'll finally be done in 1 year from now.
Great communities have great airports, and so this airport will generate a tremendous amount of prosperity for this community, and it's very exciting to be part of it.
Wyatt says they'll open up the final 11 gates to complete Concourse B next October, but he says they have plans to build another concourse down the road, likely after the 2034 Olympics. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 378 points. The S&P is up 19 points. And coming up, clear sunny skies. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio
offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Heather Kelly.
Crews are still cleaning up a crash southbound I-15 just before you get to the 2300 north exit in North Salt Lake. That's Warm Springs Road. Now, originally it had been blocking a right lane and shoulder. Looks like everyone's over to the right shoulder at this point. Still have a little bit of slowing backed up to the I-215 north interchange. Other than that, you're going to have good drive on I-15 itself. Now, if you do transition from I-15 onto the I-215 North Interchange area and head west away from Redwood Road and make that bend south toward 2300 North, there's still a crash in the cleanup stages on that bend. That's also over on the right shoulder, not really causing any delays. Sponsored by Foothill Rug Gallery, direct importer since 1985. Their semi-annual sale is happening now, up to 70% off already low direct import prices. Foothill Rug Gallery, 1460 South Foothill Drive. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 53 with clear blue skies today. Tomorrow, the haze rolls in and we'll see highs nearing the 60s. That continues through Halloween on Friday. Right now, it is 41 and sunny. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We spoke earlier with Deseret News reporter Eva Terry about a dispute or concern that some parents have in the Granite School District about maybe splitting that district up, thinking maybe it's become a little bit too big. A group of parents in Granite School District say it has become too big and should be split. Here's KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis.
City councils in the district are being asked to approve a feasibility study to explore a split. One parent in Mill Creek tells the Deseret News he's frustrated with the low amount of representation he gets for his highest tax category, property taxes. In 2021, the school district was ranked 62nd largest in the nation and serves over 62,000 students. And in 2022, a Utah audit found schools are generally more efficient with funds when they have a student count of around 10 to 20,000. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
That's a lot smaller, 10 to 20,000. So,
we have Ben Worsley on the line, superintendent of Granite School District. Ben, right. Can you tell us
what do you think?
What's your take on this?
I think, with all due respect to the Deseret News, they should go back to their own reporting on this topic with the Jordan split just a few years ago, where it showed that the cost of the district split invariably cost taxpayers $60 million. And after that, both Canyons and Jordan's per student expenditures went up over $500 a piece, between $500 to $600. So for the same level of services, we've all been and seen a huge increase in taxes. With due respect to my friend from Mill Creek, I've personally spoken with him on this issue multiple times, and I keep asking, what can we do more to support your schools in your area? They're already the highest performing in the state and in the nation. Skyline High School, the top performing school in the state, the highest comprehensive school in the state, and all those feeders that go into it are extremely well read in terms of their performance and their outcomes. So how does reducing the district size, which by the way, the data is in that story is outdated. We're actually down to 56,000 students from our peak of 80,000 back in the 90s. So we will become, we're going to become the third largest district, and soon to become the fourth largest district in the state. So we've already actually experienced a significant downside. I'm curious why we would raise taxes to provide the same level of services.
So Ben, thank you for making your position clear. I'm wondering how you would respond to the parents who are approaching, especially the holiday mayoral candidates, and trying to get them on board with doing a feasibility study. What about those parents who are feeling like their needs aren't being met?
To be honest, we're talking about a handful of parents, and if you're asking the question, do you believe more in local control or framing it in such a way, of course a parent's going to say, yeah, I would like to do that. But if you framed it, would you be willing to increase your taxes to garner the same levels of service for your current schools? Most people are going to say no. And if you talk to the current city Mill Creek manager or mayor, and even the current Mill Creek or Holiday mayor, they've received responses from their patrons. Don't do this. This is not worth pursuing. It's not worth the time and the effort.
Yeah, and I've always been taught that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And to me, and I guess I'm a product of Granite School District, so I'm a little biased. It's a district that's run well and has done well. And there is a little bit of an east-west split, but it seems to have worked very well over the years, hasn't it, Ben?
Yeah, and if you look at the way that our revenue is shaped up, there are both sides of the district are experiencing a reciprocal benefit from being together. And by and large, that comes from huge economies of scale. Frankly, if there was an east-west split, then South Salt Lake would probably struggle the most. In addition to increased taxes, they would lose the benefit of being tied to a larger district where our at-risk funding would be diminished significantly. They would not receive those services and support as a result of those economies of scale. Again, Granite School District has some of the lowest administrative costs in the state and in the nation. And so I'm really struggling to find some data is being cherry-picked here for the news story, and frankly, we were not contacted for the news story. I use Deseret News' own data on our website. You can find out more information about these, but the data sources they're pulling are coming from school districts that have 10 to 15,000 students in them, but they're also funded at 3 times the rate we are. So let's compare apples to apples.
So Ben, I live down in Alpine School District. It's splitting 3 ways. Is there ever a time where a split, in your opinion, would be appropriate?
Yeah, and I will advocate for it because I'm here for students, not for systems. And I will advocate for a split at the appropriate time when it's actually in benefit to the students themselves, when we see that resources are not being spent in the way that they should, or there's huge inadequacies in terms of the outcomes. And we're just not seeing that in this particular situation. Alpine is different. I'm not going to comment on that in particular, but it's really difficult when you have one part of your district that's on one side of a huge lake, and then another, Cedar Valley, is actually extremely far away. So I can see some challenges they might be experiencing that they're trying to address that are unique to Alpine, and those circumstances don't apply. And what we've heard from some of those board members and new elected officials running there, that this isn't going to be a cost savings. There's going to be a huge, significant cost, but it will provide some additional opportunities. That's unique to Alpine, and again, I don't want to speak to that further.
Ben, I've always had the impression that the Granite School District was actually shrinking in numbers, and maybe I'm wrong. What have the numbers looked like over the last, maybe, say, 8 to 10 years?
We've lost almost 20,000 students in the last 20 years, and we expect to lose another 4,000 to 5,000 students, as we are one of the most mature areas of the state. And frankly, a lot of this discussion is coming from parents who don't want their school to be closed because there's less than 200 kids in that. This topic always comes up when there's discussions surrounding school closures. We're trying to be responsive and appropriate and fiscally prudent, and at the same time, you see some families who just frankly have less than 200 kids in their school, and they don't want it to close. They think the only way to prevent that from happening is to split the district. But in reality, regardless of whether you're part of Granite or another new district, you're going to have to evaluate the realities of small schools and when will it be appropriate to close those schools.
All right. Thank you so much. We've been speaking with Ben Horsley, superintendent of the Granite School District, about a parent movement to potentially split the district. He obviously has some strong feelings about that.
Yeah, and he makes a good point, and I think Eva does too. I mean, there's some parents that feel one way or the other. Maybe there has to be at least some study into it. But Ben makes a good point that it's working well. The district's not growing. It's not getting to a point where it's sort of bursting at the seams like what seemingly happened in your district down in Alpine.
Yeah.
That it maybe got almost unmanageably big. Granite School District does not, at least from the outside, seem to be suffering from that.
Look, so I do have to say this as a news update. We're seeing reports that Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Jamaica. It's a Category 5 storm. It's a gigantic monster of a storm, and we're going to have more coverage on that a little bit later in the show. So
that one is. I mean, we've just been watching it even since the show has gone on today, and it's traveling at a slow rate of speed, something like 7 or 8 miles an hour. But it was only 40 miles off the coast. So in the time that we've been going, and since we got here early this morning, it's now making, like you say, landfall in Jamaica, and We'll keep you posted on that, but it looks like this could be quite catastrophic. And people that are there, they're basically just trapped. I mean, they're just there.
That's right. And we know it has sustained winds of 185 miles an hour with bursts up to 225 miles an hour. It's just absolutely apocalyptic. Let's say that. Okay. All right. Well, House Republicans are calling for further investigation from the Justice Department into former President Joe Biden's use of an auto pen, which is a device that replicates a signature to sign executive actions. So the new report questions whether Biden was aware of key decisions made during his presidency, citing concerns about his health, cognitive health. We'll talk about this and why auto pens are used, and they are actually used quite frequently. So we'll follow up with that after the break. We're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Cooler weather. What a relief, unless you have old drafty windows. Soon the heat will escape through the cracks and your energy bill is going to go through the roof. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products and get brand new state-of-the-art custom windows and frames at factory direct pricing. The factory is right here in Salt Lake City, where they've been building precision windows since 1986, and you're going to save a lot of money since there's no middleman markup. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows. Even better, call now and they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Double pane argon-filled windows with a low-energy triple coating, any style, any color, and Advanced Windows gives you a lifetime warranty. If you have an issue, they're not 10 states away. They're right here in town, and they offer 0% 60-month financing. So make the call now. Get $2,500 off. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
My friends at the Western Nut Company, they make holiday gift giving an absolute breeze. Hi, this is Doug Wright, and from beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to the famous in-house fudge, which is so delicious, and of course the Brittles, they've got something for every taste bud. For corporate gift giving, what could be better or easier than going to the Western Nut Company? You can just send them your list and they'll handle the rest. For nearly 60 years, the Western Nut Company has been a proud Utah tradition, celebrating the season with quality and care and community. And be sure to stop by the downtown store for not only unique gifts, but enjoy the decor, the ornaments, and the music box. The Western Nut Company. More than just the best nut gift boxes in Utah, they are a tradition. And you can also, of course, shop online at westernnut.com. Western Nut for the holidays.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com. Or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you are facing divorce, call Cordell and Cordell today.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you are facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. CordellCordell.com.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, what are you waiting for? Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Inside Sources.
Well, House Republicans are out with a report on the Biden White House's use of an auto pen to put the president's signature on official documents. And I suppose, Holly, that the notion is that someone else was using the pen. They were just sort of using his signature there. ABC national correspondent Steve Portnoy has more on that story from Washington.
The GOP-led House Oversight Committee says it has found no record that the former president directly approved of certain documents, including pardons, that carry his signature. Joe Biden has insisted he authorized his aides to use an auto pen, but the committee says it now deems some of his actions as void, and it urges the Justice Department to further probe the matter. Separately, the committee is calling on D.C.'s Board of Medicine to investigate Biden's physician, alleging Dr. Kevin O'Connor helped lead a cover-up of the former president's decline.
Well,
the House is actually doing something. I thought they were in recess.
Apparently, they have been able to do something. So, look, we got to talk a little bit about what an auto pen is. So, it's a mechanical device that is used to replicate a person's signature, right? So, you do the signature and the machine learns it, and then it can use it to sign if you're not there or whatever. But it's been used by presidents literally for decades. There's no law that governs whether a president can use an auto pen. But in this situation, so Trump has used auto pens in the past. He says they're only, quote, for unimportant papers. But it's interesting, right, because this came up in the early spring. So it would have been pretty early days in the Trump administration where President Trump was claiming that former President Biden had used an auto pen to sign some of the pardons that he issued at the end of his presidency, and therefore they were not valid.
Well, and I guess that begs another question, which is to say this: whether or not the auto pen was used, did he approve of those, or did he acquiesce in that? Maybe
that's part two of the argument, right?
Yeah. So if he says, "Well, that's something I wanted done, and I authorize the use of the auto pen," I don't know. No harm, no foul. But if we're going to set aside some pardons, saying it wasn't an executive action because he didn't approve of it at the time, that's a different question. But I would think Biden would have a dog in that fight and say, hey, wait a minute, somebody signed my name without my permission. He's not saying that right now.
Correct, and he's never said that. And, you know, we have a texter who reminds us that President Trump used an auto pen to pardon people from the January 6th insurrection.
Right, yes.
The peaceful protest that became less peaceful. So it's interesting. So this committee, the Republicans committee, wants the DOJ, which is of course favorable to the Trump administration. They want the Trump DOJ to investigate additionally. So Biden has strenuously denied that he was unaware of his administration's actions, saying he knew what was going on and he gave permission for the auto pen to be used, right?
Yeah, and it's also interesting that they're attacking his doctor who said that he was actually covered up the president's decline. And I think there are a lot of people that they feel were covering for President Biden during his last year or whatever in office, that he was not all there, that he wasn't aware of everything that was going on, and other people were acting on his behalf, or at least assisting him, and covering up his decline. That, I don't know. You look at what happened. I guess when you look at that debate between he and Trump, and you think he's clearly lost a step here. That started this whole momentum. That it seemed like
a snowball.
Everything went from there. Like let's look into what he is or what he's about. I mean, I heard him speak the other day. He seemed like he was doing pretty well. He may have been reading everything, but he seemed like he was doing just fine.
So this report is like 100 pages long. It doesn't include full transcripts of the recorded testimony that witnesses delivered before the committee. So they had a lot of people coming in and testifying. And the report claims that record-keeping policies in the Biden White House were, quote, so lax that the chain of custody for a given decision is difficult or impossible to establish, which basically says they can't actually tell whether President Biden knew or didn't know about the use of the auto pen. And of course, former President Biden says he did know and he authorized the use of it. So it's just with all of the stuff that's going on with the government right now, this is what Republicans are focused on.
Yeah, and again, the House Oversight Committee is meeting. They're not voting on other things that might be important, and the Speaker has sent them home for some time. But I guess this particular committee's been meeting, and they've got this major report, and we'll see where it goes. But they're actually sending it to the Justice Department for investigation. That tells me that they're looking into possible criminal charges, possible administrative charges, whatever. But going to the Justice Department means it's going to take the next step, and who would be in their crosshairs? It sounds like it would not be Biden himself, because he's sort of, if you believe the report, he's almost a victim and not a perpetrator. But I don't know who the people that would be the perpetrators are, and what the harm was created as a result of these auto pen.
Well, so what they're saying, and I guess the remedy that they're asking for is, and this is a quote from the report, barring evidence of executive actions taken during the Biden presidency showing that President Biden indeed took a particular executive action, the committee deems those actions taken through the use of the auto pen as void. So what they're saying is anything that was signed by an auto pen, unless you can specifically have a paper trail to prove that President Biden knew what was happening, that all of those would be null and void, including pardons. But of course, you've got legal experts saying, hello, broad scrutiny of executive actions like that could also come back and cause headaches for the Trump administration.
And if Biden says, I approved of all of it, what are you going to do? I
mean,
mean,
they're saying you have to show us, show us the receipts, show us the paper trail. You're saying now that you approved of it, show us that you actually did at the time. So I don't know what the process is going to be as this unfolds, but certainly we have a lot of other issues, including a government shutdown now in day 28, people who aren't getting paid. There's a lot of stuff going on. In fact, when they finally come back, did we mention the national debt? It's $38 trillion. It only took 180 days to get from $37 to $38 trillion.
And isn't it supposed to gain by that amount every 6 months
it's
now?
Accelerating.
Another
it's
trillion
accelerating.
dollars.
Yeah, for sure it's accelerating. So anyway, that's the latest.
It does seem to take a lot of the attention off of other things going on.
Can we say Epstein?
Yeah, Epstein
files.
Government shutdown. There's some other things going
gosh.
on. I don't know how much time we want to spend chasing Joe Biden around. He's yesterday's news. He's gone. He's not there anymore, and I don't know what it does anybody good to try to beat him up at this point.
Well, again, it's trying to overturn things that he did by executive action. Although I'll say President Trump has overturned many things already by his own executive actions. I guess they're looking to overturn some of the pardons.
So I actually had to look up auto pen, and I appreciate that you nailed it, but I'd never. Until all this happened, I didn't really. It's sort of a self-defining word, and I guess I sort of knew what it meant, but I.
It's I think it's interesting to look. We've always had some form of, whether it's an electronic signature or a stamp, right, to say you're not signing all those things. I'll just give you an example. So we talked yesterday with Sarah Weaver about 55 new missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and some 85,000 missionaries, right?
Right.
They all get a mission call. They are not hand-signed by the First Presidency. I can guarantee you that is not an original signature. Right,
yeah.
I mean,
otherwise, I wouldn't have anything else to do.
Right. You just sit there and sign and sign and sign until your hand falls off, right? So there have long been the use of either a stamp or an electronic signature. In this case, it's literally a mechanical signature. But that part is like, hey, come on, this is not unique to President Biden.
And before we break, I do want to mention something that was breaking news that our station posted just a minute ago, and that is Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has ordered what he calls an immediate and powerful military strikes in Gaza. When we'll follow that if more information comes, but we're also following what is now determined to be the strongest storm on the planet for 2025, Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5. It's now hitting the shores of Jamaica. We'll bring you the latest and also hear from KSL's meteorologist who has a family member currently in Jamaica. Stay with us on KSL News Radio, and remember, you can stream us on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. And it is developing news. Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Jamaica as one of the strongest hurricanes to ever churn in the Atlantic. Sustained winds are tearing across the island at 185 miles per hour, and forecasters are predicting catastrophic conditions. Michelle Robinson is riding out the storm in Kingston and explained the mood of those who stayed behind.
I don't get the sense that they feel like it's going to destroy the country. We've had storms before, and Jamaica's very resilient. The people is very resilient, and we're helping each other out. And after this storm passes, we're going to do what we need to do to get back to where we are and even better, and we're going to keep moving on.
The Category 5 storm could drop up to 40 inches of rain on Jamaica's eastern mountains. While Melissa is thousands miles to our east, it could still impact our weather weeks from now. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says the hurricane could move a jet stream as it moves north, which causes a ripple effect.
We like our chances because the current pattern is stagnant here. We got high pressure building, and the hope is that this can introduce some more stormy patterns into the jet stream, and that will get something going. It'll kickstart the jet stream again for us here in the west.
Matt says right now we have a high pressure system building up over the west, and a move of the jet stream could clear it out. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 346 points, the S&P is up 19 points. And coming up, sunny and 53 along the Wasatch Front. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Amanda, I want to tell people how they can look and feel 10 years younger because it's something you and I already know.
We lost weight with the SOTA weight loss program. I lost 34 pounds, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And I do feel younger. I have more energy, all because I worked through this wonderful program, SOTA Weight Loss.
And I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months, and I actually did get comments, you look incredibly younger. It really felt good.
And I love the example I set for my kids to show them, look, we can celebrate things without having to eat stuff that's bad for our bodies.
And what helps is the accountability. And right now, this is the best way to do it. SOTA's bringing back their most popular offer of the season. Join now, and your partner joins for free in the Partner Program.
So you and your spouse, or you and your best friend, get going with SOTA Weight Loss.
They're the #1 weight loss company in America for client satisfaction and client results. You can find out by going to their website, SOTAweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Because SOTA is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler.
I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler's workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come check us out at your nearby store. Our engagement rings are made with love from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America. Turn everyday spending into an extraordinary escape. Here's Ricky Meese.
In the valley, freeway traffic does look really good. However, we have a disabled vehicle being moved out of traffic. It's now over to the right shoulder. This is going to be on I-80 in Parley's Canyon. Traveling westbound after Mountaindale, all lanes are now open. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's chilly today with a high of 53, but the skies will stay clear, a little hazy tomorrow through Friday as temperatures rise back towards the 60s. Right now it is 43 and sunny. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
We're in the throes right now of the strongest storm on the planet. It's hitting Jamaica as we speak. It's now a Category 5 hurricane, which I think is as bad as it gets. It's one of the strongest hurricanes ever to churn in the Atlantic. It has maximum sustained winds of 185 miles an hour.
It's crazy. So we have on the line with us Devin Mashuli. Did I say your name right, Devin?
Yeah, it's Mashuli.
Okay, Mashuli. Okay, thank you. KSL meteorologist, and she has a family member who's in Jamaica right now. So first of all, I want you to just tell our listeners about the intensity of this storm.
Yeah, the storm is one of the strongest to make landfall in the Atlantic Basin. It did have a low pressure of 892 millibars, and that is the third lowest pressure recorded in a hurricane. So typically the lower the pressure, the stronger the hurricane. So that proves that this is a very strong storm. Winds are up to about estimated sustained between 185 miles per hour. And to also put that into perspective, that is an EF4 tornado. So the winds around the eye of this hurricane are very strong, moving through the western portions of Jamaica. And of course, there can be some wind gusts higher than that, up to 200 miles per hour.
And Devin, we've been following its path. I mean, the whole nation has, the world has over the last 48 hours. Where does it sit now?
Right now, it just made landfall. So that happens when the center of the eye officially moves on land. So it's still just about on that southwestern shore near Westmoreland. And it looks like my cousin is in Montego Bay, which is just on the northwestern side of the island. And it looks like it's going to have a path northeast from Westmoreland. So if you kind of saw where it made landfall, it's going to continue to move northeast. So Montego Bay would be on the western side, if I was able to paint that picture for you guys.
So how has your cousin been preparing, and what are they experiencing right now? Can you share?
So right now they are bunkered down. They have not left their room over the past few hours. And they moved the box spring, all of the furniture in the hotel room. They have put it all against the sliding glass doors that are in the room, and they're on the second floor. Right now, they've just been bunkered down in the room or in the bathroom. So that's where they put their mattress and everything, kind of sticking out of the bathroom door. Really, from inside, they can hear just their front door. It's just rattling like crazy. So the winds are continuing to pick up as the eye gets closer and closer to Montego Bay. She says from what she can hear, the rain doesn't sound too heavy, but it's certainly, you can just tell the wind is blowing the rain in many different directions from what she can hear inside. But given that the eye wall is so close, she's not venturing outside, and I'm very glad she's staying inside and not able to paint me a slightly better picture. But
yeah. Let me just ask a quick follow-up question about that. Is your cousin there as a tourist, or does she live there?
She's there as a tourist. She was there to celebrate a friend's 50th birthday party. So they were supposed to fly out, I believe, Monday. But now they're pushed back at least through Thursday. So they have to pay like an emergency rate to stay an additional 4 days, unfortunately.
Devin, how do the characteristics of a hurricane change from sea to land, or if at all? Does anything change about the way it operates or it moves around when it hits land?
Yeah, it certainly does, because hurricanes are fueled off of the warm water from the ocean. So when they get that source cut off, I mean, Jamaica is so small, but it does have mountainous terrain. So that will also help provide wind shear, which will kind of help break down the structure. I mean, this thing is a monster. And Jamaica is so small, so it's only going to do so much, but it is expected to weaken to a Category 4 by the time it crosses just that small band of Jamaica. Unfortunately, it is going to go right back over water, so it is going to continue to maintain its structure as a Category 3 before it hits Cuba. But over land, when you cut off that energy source of that warm water, it does begin to weaken, and it happens pretty quick. But just Jamaica is so small that we're not seeing it happen as fast.
So I've been watching, like many people, been watching the images of this hurricane, and it's just huge. It just looks like a monster, and we're hearing that it's moving kind of slowly, and it could have as much as 40 inches of rain hitting Jamaica, which is I can't comprehend that in Utah. How much rain that is. What were people doing there to ride out the storm, and I guess how long will it be, do you think, until they're safe to go outside?
I think once the strongest part of the hurricane moves offshore heading towards Cuba, winds begin to die down. They'll still have to deal with some wraparound bands of rain. But I think later on this evening, maybe, or at least through tomorrow morning, they can get outside and kind of assess the damage. I think one of the biggest concerns with all of that rain, not only is it the flash flooding threat, but all of the landslides. I mean, there is mountainous terrain in Jamaica. There are going to be mudslides, landslides, and that can also lead to an awfully dangerous situation. So, preparing, getting as high above the ground as you can. I hope that's what they're doing. I've seen videos, of course, of sandbags and people just trying to prepare, but that amount of water is overwhelming. So really, height is your best friend, but not too high where you're getting impacted by even stronger winds. So it's a very scary balancing act with that. And I really am just praying, because this is going to be devastating for many areas in Jamaica.
Devin, it does seem like that the meteorological science has adapted to the point where they're making fairly accurate predictions on where a hurricane's going to go, when it's going to hit land. And so what were the people of Jamaica told, or what are they doing to sort of hunker down?
They kind of had stages of shutdown. So with my cousin, they knew the storm was moving so slow, and obviously all the data provided from the hurricane hunters, we knew it was violent in the eye of that hurricane. So they knew that once that eye got closer and closer, that's when things are really going to get violent. So yesterday, they actually had the day where they were not on shutdown because the eye was so far off land and it was moving so slow. So they were able to use the day to just hang out outside, kind of prepare. The winds were barely even a breeze at Montego Bay. But as that storm got closer and closer, that's when shutdown protocol hit. You are not allowed to leave your rooms. And people were recommended by the National Hurricane Center in Jamaica that once this got to a point where it was close, you should stay in your place, seek that shelter, and do not leave until the eye is far away from you. So hopefully people took those warnings seriously, because this is one of those things that can be, this is life-threatening for many people.
Yeah. I heard a person from Jamaica saying, hey, look, we've had storms before, but maybe not like this one.
Yeah, they did have a Category 4 on record and or Category 4 before, and I know that was very strong. I mean, the videos from that were devastating as well, but this one is not only the strongest one to hit Jamaica, but one of the strongest in the Atlantic Basin. So this one really is just, it's no joke. It's a monster. So it's scary. It really is a scary situation.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. That was Devin Mashuli, a KSL meteorologist who does have a family member in Jamaica right now. We're going to keep following that story, I know for sure. So we're already, if you can believe it, towards the end of our show, and we are going to talk about Halloween safety when we come back. We have some safety tips that you need to be aware of from the Department of Public Safety, so stay with us over the break.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Founded in 2015, the Women's Leadership Institute helps more Utah women step into leadership, whether in business, politics, or the community. Through programs and partnerships, they're creating real change and opening doors for women across the state. Chief Executive Officer Melanie Jones joins us with more.
When women are included in leadership, businesses thrive and everyone benefits. At the Women's Leadership Institute, we partner with Utah companies to elevate women into leadership, unlocking talent that strengthens companies, supports families, and enriches communities. Our flagship initiative is the Elevate Her Challenge, Utah's business-led movement where companies commit to measurable steps that advance women. Elevate Her helps businesses compete while honoring Utah's culture and values, and it works because it's practical, safe, and focused on results. Importantly, women's leadership isn't about displacing men. It's a multiplier. Companies grow stronger when men and women lead side by side. Through programs like the Rising Leaders Series, Career Development Series, and Political Development Series, we're preparing women across the pipeline. And our next frontier is equipping women for the C-suite, because Utah is most competitive when women are in every room where decisions are made.
The Women's Leadership Institute continues to empower women in Utah by fostering connections, offering guidance, and creating opportunities that advance careers and grow impact. To learn more about their programs, visit WLIUT.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s,
affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
An expanded Inside Sources.
Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange?
We are 3 days away from This is Halloween. Yes, 3 days away. And, you know, it's never too early to talk about safety for Halloween. The Department of Public Safety is sort of doubling down on things to be aware of. But there's going to be a lot of kids out Friday night. It's Friday night.
And it's always like either dusk or it has gotten dark. And I always worry too, right? Because they get excited and they want to run across the street and there may be a car or...
Well, to our credit, the state of Utah postponed the changing back of daylight savings time until after Halloween because it used to be dark and cold on Halloween. You had to get out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was the federal government.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I thought we were just being innovative
I
here.
know, no. But
well,
anyway, daylight savings also going away.
Utah Highway Patrol Sergeant Mike Alexander spoke to us about the dangers of and concerns on Halloween.
There always is concern with Halloween in general. We do have a high occurrence of pedestrian-related crashes, and unfortunately that does translate over to a high occurrence of pedestrian-related fatalities frequently around the Halloween holiday, and in particular October tends to be one of our most frequent fatal crash pedestrian-involved months. I think it's just because we're nearing that time of the year where it's getting darker earlier and staying darker later. It's harder to see pedestrians when they're not wearing, reflective clothing or lighting, and we've forgotten what it's like to drive when it's darker in the evenings and the mornings.
Boy, and if you're driving a car Friday on your way home, as you get into the neighborhoods,
especially,
just be so careful. Slow down. Keep your brights on. Look for because these little goblins don't all have reflective gear on.
And one of the things in our family, we never did masks, and one of the reasons is because it can restrict your vision. Like if you have a mask over your face, it's a little harder sometimes to see out the side or whatever, and then it makes it, I think, kids can be more vulnerable to traffic accidents.
Right.
So Shauna Burbridge, Behavioral Safety Director for UDOT, says kids should wear reflective gear over their costumes.
Reflective gear is very important because as the kids are going out and they're in the neighborhoods, they might think that their costumes have bright colors and that they're easy to see, but one of the things we notice is that in that dark light, some of those colors that seem bright to us aren't quite as visible to maybe an oncoming car or to someone else who's out there. And so that reflectivity, when the lights of a vehicle hit that, it gives them that response, it gives them that bright reflection, and so it makes those kids visible so that if they're on the side of the road or if they're trying to cross, it gives the drivers of the vehicles a little bit more reaction time and more lead time to be able to slow down and keep those kids safe.
And if your kid thinks the reflective items that they put on the costume is messing it up, just put them on anyway. Because if you're in a car and you see somebody who has reflective gear, I mean, I ride bicycles.
Yeah.
And I have reflective gear during
Yeah.
the day. You know what I mean? You do anything you can so that a car can see you.
Well, because of the I think it getting dark. Well, we have less daylight hours, right?
Sure.
So now when I'm coming to work, I will pass people who are walking or jogging, and there are some who scare me because all of a sudden I see them and they're wearing dark clothing. There's no reflective gear. I
Right.
really, really appreciate the ones who have reflective stripes on their pants, or they've got a light that they're shining, or they have something on their shoes, because then at least I can see them.
Yeah, the behavioral safety director for UDOT, Shauna Burbridge, talked about what parents could do to set an example.
Parents, you are the example setters. So make sure that when you are out with your kids and you're crossing the street, that you're modeling those positive behaviors. We want to be showing our kids that it's important to look both ways and to wait for traffic to go past before we try to cross the street. We don't want to do things that we wouldn't want our kids to do. And so make sure that you're modeling those positive behaviors, that you're encouraging them to look both ways and be cognizant of the environment that is around them. Obviously, when it's possible and when they're available, we want to be crossing at corners, at intersections where there's a marked crosswalk available. If that's not the case, in a lot of neighborhoods, we may not have a crosswalk marked. And so just make sure that you're not darting out from behind parked vehicles or from, trees and bushes and things. We don't want to be jumping out to scare the cars. We want to make sure that we're in a location where we are expected, where cars would expect to see us entering the roadway, and, keeping our eyes open so that we can stay safe.
I know for me, I accompanied the kids for a long time. Like they had to be, I don't know, probably at least 10 before they could go out by themselves.
Yeah, and I see a lot of parents, you'll see the car pull up to the curb and then kids will get out. Or
Yeah.
the kids are often walking, but dad
Yeah.
or mom is following them
Yeah.
in a vehicle or sometimes just
Yeah,
on
or
foot.
I'll stay on the
They're out
sidewalk
the
and they
curb.
ring the doorbell.
I usually
Yeah.
try to go out and give the parents a little piece of candy.
That's
first.
always
That-
nice,
that's
right?
Nice. You're showing up to
That's
protect the
always
kids.
nice. So look, it can be a lot of fun. Halloween can be a lot of fun, but it's also important to stay safe. And I think for me, one of the I don't know this data-wise, but I think one of the things that might be more dangerous as you get later into the nighttime hours, so the younger kids have gone home, but maybe now you have the older kids that are out and they're not paying as much attention. I think I told you I had a young teenager who decided he was going to go out in the middle of a snowstorm. Maybe not the safest idea, right? But he got a lot of candy that year.
In an area where we live, there are not a lot of kids. We don't have any kids. Our grandkids all live out of state. You don't appreciate Halloween. You are still involved with young people in
Yep.
your life and in
Yep.
your home, and so you're still enjoying the
here's
Halloween
what's
experience.
funny. So Jazzy is 11, and she told me she does not want to go trick or treating this year. And I asked her if she wanted to go with a group of her friends, and she said no, it's cold.
Well, it is. So wear
she
something
does
warm.
not. No, well, speaking of reflective gear, coats mess up your costumes too.
I know.
She's not interested.
Coats and reflective gear. Well, stay safe out there.
He did the Monster Mash.
The song you can only stand one
I know,
time
right?
in the year, but
Okay, fun facts for the day. It's October 28th, and it is National Chocolate Day. And I have a question for you. What is the weirdest thing you've ever had in chocolate or had chocolate on?
I'll have to think about that for a minute because I know I've had it on some weird things. I know this is not particularly weird, but I have a client who thinks that I love chocolate-covered cinnamon bears, and I love her. I love her, but I do not like them.
Yeah, that's so
Sam,
funny.
I just don't like
I don't like them, Sam. I am.
I do not like them.
Yeah, when I first tried mole, I thought that was really different, right? That you have this cocoa in this Mexican food. It does work. And I will say I have not tried this, but my dad did, and that was chocolate-covered dried grasshoppers.
No thanks.
Gross.
Yeah.
Right?
You want all the
There are
chocolate you
some
could get.
things that
Right.
even chocolate can't cover and
Right.
make better. Okay, so on this day in history in 1636, Harvard College was founded. October 28th, 1636. It has been around a really,
One
really
of the
long
first
time.
ones probably in
Mhm.
America, certainly before
yeah.
we had anything west of St. Louis.
Yep. So on this day in 1886, this is a really important anniversary, I think. The Statue of Liberty was finished, and it was dedicated by U.S. President Grover Cleveland, and it was, if you remember, a gift from France.
Yes.
1886.
Yeah, and it still sits as a beacon. I've never been in it or at it, but
I have.
I think it's. I mean, I've been there several times, but I've just never been to the statue itself.
I
It's
have
very
been to the
impressive.
statue, not inside, but on the outside, and it's super impressive, and and a beacon of welcoming those coming to our shore. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. Thank you very much. Okay, so on this day in 1919, this is really interesting because it did not last very long, but Congress decided they were going to enforce prohibition against alcohol. President Woodrow Wilson vetoed it and said, no way, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think it's going to work out. And Congress said, we know better. And then it didn't actually work out very well.
So this is a little piece of trivia, but I live in a part of the state where they claim they have the longest continually operating tavern.
Oh.
And they said that it has that distinction because they didn't shut down during Prohibition. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but that could get you into the record books.
That might be it. Look, we have a couple of texters who weighed in on the chocolate question. Chocolate-covered bacon, it's actually really good. Chocolate-covered potato chips, I haven't had that, but I'm intrigued. And then grapes. So I haven't had chocolate-covered grapes.
0 for 3
either.
there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've had raisins and stuff. I've had really good European chocolate, and they add all kinds of stuff in their chocolate. Now the big thing is Dubai chocolate. So you can find that anywhere, including with your cookies from Crumble. Dubai chocolate cookies.
I do not. Don't even like them. But anyway, that's a wrap for Inside Sources today. It's Chocolate Day. Don't forget that. Have your chocolate for lunch today. Midday with Maria Schleos is up next with more on new updates that are making the Salt Lake City International Airport a little bit bigger. And it's one of the best